Chapter 753. The Ancestral Hall has really been breached. It's true, there's no doubt about it. The world was in an uproar. All the peak races were scared witless. Many races and powers felt fear from the depths of their souls. That was the Ancestral Hall. Now that the old chief had breached the Ancestral Hall, his aura swallowing the world, an unparalleled overlord was too savage. He had bathed the Ancestral Hall's most powerful Pure Land in blood. Even if the old chief was given a few breaths of time, he would still be able to heavily wound the Ancestral Hall. The leaders of the Fiend Region's powers all had uncertain expressions. They were also shocked. The old chief was too savage. If such a character wasn't exterminated, who would dare to provoke the Burial Region clan? Who would dare to say that the Burial Region clan had declined? He was announcing the return of the Burial Region clan. They had their ancestral land and gathered the power of the various races once more. They had the qualifications to contend for hegemony over the world and would not shrink back. Without a doubt, the old chief's power and influence made all races tremble. They no longer dared to underestimate the Burial Region clan. At the same time, many powers shut their mouth. A race without a supreme being overseeing it couldn't even withstand a single blow in the eyes of a peak race. The old chief had unleashed a massacre in the prosperous cultivation world and attacked the Ancestral Hall. He had slaughtered his way to a peerless prestige, causing the Burial Region clan's might to soar. Pung pung pung. Within the Ancestral Hall's small universe, it was hard to imagine how many creatures had perished. The boundless territories were destroyed, and all sorts of mountain Dao palaces were destroyed. There were also rare treasure lands that the Ancestral Hall had painstakingly cultivated that were turned to ashes. More importantly, 3 of the Supreme Being's palaces that hung high in the skies had also sunk. This loss drove the Ancestral Hall crazy. This was their inheritance's glorious foundation, but now it had all been destroyed. Just 1/10 of the Ancestral Hall's small universe had exploded, but that was enough to heavily wound the Ancestral Hall. Many old freaks that came out from the space-time holes roared out, "Use your foundation, invite the old ancestor, destroy the enemy." When the Ancestral Hall was invaded by a powerful enemy, many space-time holes that had been sealed for eternity began to stir. There were even space-time holes that were even more ancient, and there were even faint fluctuations of supreme beings that were slowly awakening. The Ancestral Hall definitely had other supreme beings that wouldn't easily come out. But now they had no choice but to come out. They could feel that the Ancestral Hall's small universe was about to be overturned and completely destroyed. "He's going to break in." Amidst the destruction, people saw that the bloodthirsty Overlord was about to break into the small universe and cause even greater destruction. But in the end, the power that made them despair instantly disappeared without a trace. Because the Ancestral Realm's foundation was finally recovering, Burial Realm's secret technique could no longer be sealed. In an instant, it erupted, enveloping the entire Ancestral Realm. The damaged ancestral domain started to enter its strongest state of preparation for battle, and it developed a world-shocking domain that emanated the light of all sorts of great figures. It was like numerous ancient great figures were about to be revived and traverse the primordial times to walk into this era. Many spectators were trembling. The Ancestral Hall had already reached the most powerful level of recovery. One could well imagine just how powerful the attackers were, and how fast their movements were. Their attacks were cruel and bloody. Of course, the result of doing so was that the Ancestral Hall would also madly counterattack and target the Milky Way. At that time, there would be a fight to the death between the two groups. I seem to feel that many ancient powerhouses of the Ancestral Hall are awakening. A group of terrifying kings are awakening. The powerful cultivators all had such thoughts. The Ancestral Hall had completely become a tiger's den. But what was the use? The old leader had already killed to his heart's content, and he had already retreated. In just a dozen breaths of time, The ancestral hall would remember this for a lifetime. Why do I feel that the ancestral hall's small universe is emitting a terrifying killing intent? Many spectating powerhouses paled. They simply didn't know what was happening inside. This sudden change was enough to make all the past powerhouses of the ancestral hall go mad with rage. The corners of their eyes were bleeding. Before the old leader left, he had left behind an attack. This attack rushed into the depths of the ancestral hall, crushing a vast forbidden area and rushing towards a vast starry sky array. This was the ancestral hall's strongest array, and it occupied an area of 1,000,000 miles. This was the ancestral hall's strongest interdomain teleportation array that had been tempered and stabilized by all the past powerhouses of the ancestral hall. The ancestral hall had paid an unimaginable price to build it, and it also carried the blood and sweat of the ancestral hall's ancestors. But now, the source of power left behind by the old leader had turned into a giant sword embryo that could split the sky. It ruthlessly slashed down, cleaving the ancestral hall's mother array. This ancestral hall's mother array was definitely smelted with some supreme treasures, and even various chaos treasures. Even so, in the face of the old leader's peerless killing intent, the huge ancestral hall trembled and began to collapse. Bastard! Many old freaks from the ancestral hall who had crawled out of the space-time hole roared like mad demons. Their eyes were about to split open. This thing was too precious. The ancestral hall could use the ancestral hall's ancestral hall to quickly travel to any place in the universe, and even forcefully open a life-forbidden zone. But now, the ancestral hall's mother array had been cleaved into a huge crack that sunk 100,000 miles. What kind of concept was this? An almighty being was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. They could even crush an ancient planet with their pinch. However, the killing strike left behind by the old leader only managed to destroy 1/10 of the starry sky array. However, even if it was only 1/10 of the original, the loss would still be incalculable. Even for this kind of cosmic mother array, it would take a long time and a lot of effort to repair it. Moreover, it might not be as powerful as before. Are there any experts from our clan who are using the mother array to cross the star field? An old monster let out a sinister voice with a gloomy expression. These words caused a large number of experts in the ancestral hall to feel uneasy. Not only were there people crossing star domains, there was an army of hundreds of thousands of soldiers crossing star domains. There was even a powerful expert who was borrowing the power of the mother formation. You bunch of trash! Trash! The group of old monsters from the ancestral hall were so angry that they were about to vomit blood. If the mother array was destroyed, then with the power of the mother array, it would be able to traverse a vast star field. Their men would definitely suffer heavy losses, and even the Almighties would be severely injured. In the vast starry sky that was several hundred star fields away from the ancestral region, there were many experts in this star field who were looking at the ancestral region from afar. Currently, they did not know what was happening in the Daozu region. They could only feel that there were all sorts of apocalyptic lights coming from the direction of the ancestral region. Boom! An extremely sudden explosion caused many people to not be able to react in time. When they looked into the starry sky, all of them fell into a daze and fear. What did they see? An ancient starry sky path that traversed more than a dozen star fields suddenly had a huge crack on it. It was then riddled with holes. The scene was extremely sudden. This was an ancient starry sky path that was set up by a transdomain teleportation array. However, this ancient path had caved in. It was riddled with holes and blood was like a drizzling rain that dyed this vast starry sky red. It was unknown how many miserable screams were heard. From the ancient starry sky path that was riddled with holes, many densely packed figures drilled out. They were covered in blood as they roared crazily. Their bodies also surged with an absolutely powerful aura. However, most of them were crippled. As soon as they drilled out of the starry sky array, they encountered the universe's terrifying shockwave. Large patches of blood dyed the sky red. Heavens, a large number of gods and devils have died. Which race's expert is so unlucky? How could such a ridiculous thing happen? There must be an accident with the transdomain teleportation array of a peak race. How many people must have died? They were terrified from the bottom of their hearts. The number of fallen cultivators was immeasurable. There must be a major character who was gravely injured. However, this was nothing. An even more terrifying aura erupted. Blood splashed across the sky. Just the gushing blood alone pierced through the universe's stars. I seemed to have sensed the aura of a supreme being. Could it be that the supreme being has also encountered the universe's suppression? The stronger the existence, the stronger the universe's suppression. A starry sky trembled and split apart. It was destroyed by the supreme being's aura. He was currently encountering the universe's peerless suppression. This supreme being from the ancestral hall wanted to kill his way into the Milky Way galaxy as soon as possible. In the end, he merged with the mother array and crossed over a vast starfield. He could cross over 100 starfields in one go. Just how great of a distance was this? However, the mother array was destroyed and he encountered the unbearable universe's suppression. The aura he emitted was especially miserable. Waves of miserable roars shook the starry sky and spread far and wide. A supreme being encountered an accident while crossing over? The spectators found it hard to believe. This was a major event that shocked the ages. Even a supreme being encountering the universe's cruel suppression almost couldn't endure it. In short, the area he was in was a blur. There was blood and large cracks everywhere. One could vaguely see the supreme being's vague silhouette. Many cracks appeared on his body. His tall and majestic corporeal body was sprinkling down with blood like a waterfall. Boom! They couldn't see clearly what was happening because an even more violent thing was being emitted. The boundless sky was distorted beyond belief. All kinds of bloody light and divine abilities were surging. The Supreme Being seemed to be resisting the universe's suppression. However, the universe's suppression made them feel disbelief. It was too powerful. It was as if the universe was enraged and had sent down a world-destroying heavenly punishment. Countless chaotic lightning was born and enveloped this Supreme Being who was struggling against the universe's suppression. Something's not right. Someone is attacking the wounded Supreme Being. The nearby Divine King had crossed over and cried out after seeing this scene. What kind of savage overlord was this? He was actually attacking a wounded Supreme Being. Didn't he know that even a wounded Supreme Being would be able to heavily injure a Supreme Being before death? However, the attacking expert was so powerful that it made the entire universe tremble. He was too tyrannical. The old chief's hair danced wildly in the wind. This was an overlord who had descended upon the world and was emitting a murderous intent that could slaughter immortals. The ancestral hall's Supreme Being cried out miserably. He was already heavily injured and now he was being attacked by the old chief. When such existences fought, they could tear the enemy apart in a single exchange. Doubtlessly, he had encountered an exceptionally cruel suppression. He was beaten until he couldn't even raise his head. The boundless starry sky continued to be destroyed. All kinds of bloody light splashed out and dyed the heavens red. No! The Supreme Being's miserable cries penetrated the starry mother array and engulfed the entire Milky Way. However, many scenes were projected. Those were fairly cruel and sinister scenes. Chapter 754. At the peak of the starry skies within the universe. A bloody scene followed the river of time and space. Following the remnant strength of the ancestral hall's mother array, it revealed a shocking scene. It was an extremely bloody scene. Gods wept and ghosts wept as blood dyed the heavens. Even the Divine King trembled when he saw this scene. Even a Supreme Being would be shocked. At this moment, the myriad races were in an uproar. The peak races all lost their colors. The entire universe's star field fell into an unprecedented earthquake. The old antiques of the various races were so shocked that they were speechless. What was that? A person with disheveled hair and a domineering aura. This was a supreme overlord. It was as if he stood above the universe. His divine might was vast, his might shocking the past and present. He was simply a mad god of a generation. The entire world began to tremble because of his actions. Monstrous killing intent gushed out from his eyes. His tall and majestic body was like a giant pillar that held up the heavens. Dong dong dong. It was as if the myriad races of the universe began to tremble as the old leader waved his fists. Fist after fist, iron-blooded and domineering, bombarded the head of a supreme being. In this world, what could be more shocking than killing a supreme being? A supreme being represented glory, represented the apex, represented the peak of the universe. It was the goal that the number one person of each great family strived to reach. But now, the old leader of the buried realm race was actually killing a supreme being. This scene left them in disbelief. The old leader stepped on the ancestral hall supreme being that had escaped from the mother array. He roared into the heavens and punched the supreme being's head again and again. Every punch was accompanied by blood essence fluctuations that engulfed a great region, suppressing the world. The light of order exploded. The supreme being's head was torn apart by his fists, spraying out a mist of blood. Heavens! I saw a supreme being of the universe being blown apart. Countless people felt their scalps tingle. This scene was enough to frighten a heavenly deity. The supreme being's head had been blown apart. Blood splattered across the heavens. It was as if the heavens were weeping blood. It was a scene that terrified all living beings in the universe. That was a supreme being in a star field. His head had been blown apart by a supreme overlord. Bastard! This scene caused blood to flow out from the corners of Ancestral Hall's great ancestor's eyes. His hair was disheveled, and boundless vicious energy and flames of anger surged within him. This was their Ancestral Hall's great ancestor, and now, his head was blasted apart. This scene was even displayed before the eyes of the myriad races. What kind of humiliation was this? It made Ancestral Palace's ancient ancestors release crazy roars, swarming towards their destination. The old ancestor of the dark underworld race was the same. He really didn't expect the old leader to still be alive. Moreover, his battle prowess was even more shocking. He was about to break through a limit and witness a magnificent scene unimaginable to the people of the world. Old Chief! Invincible, invincible! The entire Milky Way galaxy was filled with roars. The entire race went crazy because of the old leader. The Divine King's eyes turned red and his emotions surged. Many people were shedding tears. This was especially true for the Blood Lion Divine King and the others, who had disregarded their own lives and returned to the progenitor with the determination to perish together with the enemy. Since they had come here, they had no intention of walking out alive. In the face of the survival of their race, they stood up and returned to their homeland. One could imagine their determination. They really did not care about life and death. But now, what did they see? Their old leader of the burial realm race, the current strongest expert of their race, roared through the starry skies. He punched a supreme expert and blasted through the head of a supreme expert. Even the celestial origin formation had been destroyed. The consequences were extremely cruel. This meant that the ancestral realm had encountered a great change. It was very likely that a heaven-shaking accident had occurred, causing the Ancestral Palace's ancient ancestors to go berserk. Could it be that Daozu's hall had been breached? This variable originated from the old leader. The experts of the myriad races had never thought that such a peak existence would emerge from the burial realm race. Was this the terrifying leader of the mortal Tao? The starry skies trembled as ominous lights surged and tore apart the heavens. Boom! The sea of stars collapsed and the world was dyed red. Millions of stars drifted about, all of them annihilated by the gushing, ominous lights. No one dared to approach the battlefield. Even the divine king had to flee because this kind of battle was too terrifying. Roar. The starry skies trembled as waves of roars reverberated. These were the ferocious roars of a supreme expert. The mournful sound of killing reverberated through the starry skies, causing those who heard it to tremble. Even their souls were on the verge of shattering. Without a doubt, the ancestral palace's supreme expert hadn't died in battle and was still alive. Although his head had been blasted apart, he was still alive. His body was dyed in blood, and although he was incomparably miserable, he still emitted a terrifying light of order. Kill. His roar became more and more terrifying as he resisted the old leader's peerless suppression. Moreover, he had brought out his life treasure and erupted with power along with his broken body. He had almost reversed his source of life and erupted with a life-or-death struggle. Roar. When the third roar arrived, the starry skies exploded. A cosmic black hole spread out for millions of miles. Subsequently, it began to burn with bitter essence blood. It was as if a demon's den had opened, revealing the fury of destruction. He withstood it. He withstood the universe's suppression. The divine king was watching the battle from afar. They believed that the reason why the ancestral palace's supreme expert was so miserable was because of the universe's cruel suppression. That was why the old leader had been able to successfully blast his head through. But now, he had withstood it. Even without his head, he was still terrifying. His broken body glowed with the light of order, boiling with all kinds of terrifying essence blood. The burning of the universe was on the verge of an explosion. However, just as this might was about to completely awaken, the old man stood tall in the starry sky with a domineering aura. His body was boundlessly majestic. Who knew how many tens of thousands of feet tall he was? He was like an immemorial god stepping on the cosmos, unleashing an unparalleled storm of divine energy. The entire world seemed to be suppressed. The entire sea of stars seemed to be bound. That is, many people trembled as they vaguely saw great Tao immortal pearls appear behind the old leader. Each pearl resembled a condensed universe. There were a total of 36 pearls, each shaped like 36 universes. They formed 36 layers of heavens and evolved into an unbelievable domain world. It was filled with world-shaking fluctuations that suppressed all gods and demons. 36 heavens. Many people sucked in a cold breath. It originated from the 36 pearls of the Great Path of the Burial region. It was a supreme secret technique derived from a set of supreme treasures. If this technique was derived by an almighty figure, it would display the power of the 36 heavens. The 36 heavens were mainly used for suppression. He was pushed by the supreme expert, pushing the 36 great Tao universes. They fused with each other and evolved into a layout that sealed the heavens and sealed the earth. It was enough to suppress starfields with unparalleled power. A corner of the universe seemed to have become a prison. It was an intimidating scene. The energy fluctuations were too terrifying. Even the ancestral palace's supreme expert's aura was suppressed. He roared angrily under the suppression of the 36 heavens domain. Even the essence blood gushing out from his broken body was crushed. Even the supreme expert's sacred weapon was trembling. This divine spear was restrained. Bastard! The heavily injured supreme being roared. The unprecedented pressure attacked his broken body, causing his body to be on the verge of collapsing. Even more blood light gushed out, dyeing the broken starry sky red. "I'm going to slaughter you!" The ancestral palace's supreme expert roared. His blood energy overflowed. It was bitter to the extreme. The light in that instant made all living things tremble. Some people seemed to have seen the starry skies explode with great destruction. Countless stars fell and the ancient universe withered away. The supreme expert was truly staking his life. He reversed his own life source and released an aura that dyed the sky red. The 36 heavens were rumbling. This universe prison that sealed the heavens and sealed the earth was about to shatter. This kind of supreme expert's life-risking collision was boundless. It spread through the starry skies and spread far and wide. This battle could be said to have alarmed over 100 starfields. The supreme expert was staking his life, releasing his most powerful life source and evolving exceptional abilities to attack the 36 heavens. He wanted to kill his way out. However, everyone saw it. The old leader of the burial realm race had the bearing of a monarch. As his majestic figure sank, the entire world sank. The aura he emitted made it difficult for people to breathe. It was as if the heavens were sinking and crushing all things in the universe. What was power? What was invincibility? This was the old leader's current attitude. He was an unrivaled overlord. He was majestic and imposing, suppressing all supreme experts and looking down on everyone. This was a scene of doomsday. As the old leader attacked with his most unrivaled stance, the heavily injured supreme expert trembled. His reversed life source was shattered in large amounts. It was as if streams of blood-dyed stellar rivers were being crushed. Honglong. Everything became indistinct. Only the loud noise that shook the starry skies could be heard, shaking one's soul. The battlefield was filled with scenes of destruction. Even gods and devils would tremble if they came. Millions and millions of strands of chaotic calamity light surged, drowning out the entire cosmos' starry skies. Someone could vaguely see the old leader and the ancestral palace's supreme expert fighting together. This was an extremely intense collision. Every move produced unimaginable destructive force. The ancestral palace's supreme expert was already staking his life. His life essence was already ignited. The ancestral palace's supreme expert refuted before his death. His roar shook the heavens, truly erupting with the most berserk power. He felt that if he couldn't kill his way out, he might very well be shaken to death. However, no matter how great his power was, he was still too lacking when facing the old leader. At this moment, the 36 heavens gathered once more. A terrifying aura pervaded the air. There was also an unimaginable great power that spurred on the burial region's race. It swept through the universe's great wilderness, shaking the universe's myriad races. It made the vast and boundless cosmos begin to tremble. It was as if the past glory had returned. The old leader released the most unrivaled radiance, intimidating all races. The starry skies were dyed red by a sea of blood. The shattered stars that filled the sky became the color of blood. The supreme expert was coughing up blood. He was struck by that unrivaled power until he trembled. He cried out miserably as his powerful fists bombarded him. Endless years of patience ignited the old leader's madness. Ah! His blood-dyed long hair danced in the wind like a bloody waterfall. Vicious energy surged, killing light splitting the 9 heavens. His hands revealed a power that could tear apart the cosmos. In the future, if anyone dares to kill a single member of my race, I will destroy one of your supreme experts. Chapter 755. In the heavens, a mournful roar reverberated. The Almighty Being's body had been torn apart and he had even lost his head. He couldn't live any longer. That final roar contained his unwillingness and fury. He was too sullen. After borrowing the power of the Mother Formation to cross the cosmos, he had encountered the cruel suppression of the cosmos. Now, his body had been torn apart. The boundless starry skies trembled. Everyone was frightened by the scene of the Almighty Being's death. No one doubted that this Almighty Being could kill millions of life forms. Before he died, he released all of his power, burning it and shaking the heavens and earth. The starry skies collapsed, turning into a giant black hole. This universe's giant black hole even continued to distort. Immediately after, a downpour of blood poured down, dyeing the entire world red. The cosmos was wailing and the heavens seemed to be weeping blood. The death of the Almighty Being had a great impact on this part of the cosmos. All sorts of terrifying phenomena were born between heaven and earth. In short, the scene of the Almighty Being's death affected the various starfields in the cosmos. Everyone fell into fear. The Almighty Being had been torn apart, and even the entire world was covered in blood. It was as if the end of the world was approaching. Although the process of his death was short, in the hearts of the cosmos creatures, it was as long as a century. They all passed through it in fear and unease. Only when the boundless killing intent spread out did the world regain some peace. But in the end, this blood color was completely shattered. The aura of the ancestral halls Almighty vanished like smoke into thin air. He had been completely wiped out. From start to finish, no one knew what his name was. Just which era of the ancestral hall's old ancestor was he? However, the words the old leader left behind were like a declaration of the full return of the burial region's race. This kind of declaration caused the myriad races to tremble in fear. Killing one of their family members meant slaughtering one of their race's almighties. What kind of domineering attitude was this? It was like looking down on the cosmos and looking down on the myriad races. This also caused the myriad races to tremble. This alarm bell shook their souls. What qualifications did a power without an almighty being have to talk about the past of the burial region's race? Even if the race declined, they still couldn't be provoked. The entire Kuan family was scared out of their wit. They fled in panic. Their race didn't even have an almighty being, but they wanted to continue the glory of the burial region's race. They wanted to wipe out the Chinese bloodline. If the old leader came to the Kuan family with this attitude, then the Kuan family would be wiped out in a single night. This was the consequence of angering a powerful being. Without an absolute foundation, who would dare to provoke a powerful being? Not to mention, this was a supreme overlord who had slaughtered a powerful being, a supreme madman who had destroyed the gate of the ancestral palace. That day, the burial region clan's power flourished even more, surging and blazing, as if they were going to burn the heavens. This was the momentum of the various races, an unstoppable flood that gathered in the universe. It made the peak races understand the true return of the buried realm. In the universe, the gods and devils and gods and devils. You're too arrogant. A dignified voice exploded, shaking the universe. The vast starry skies swayed. This was the aura of an almighty being spreading out. A vicious aura split the heavens. A corner of the purgatory of the Azura underworld had been lifted. A pair of green eyes opened. Without a doubt, the dark nether race's almighty being had rushed over from the Milky Way galaxy. He was extremely powerful. Everywhere he passed, he turned blood red. It was like a flood of blood that spread out from the depths of the universe. He rushed towards the old leader with extreme speed. It is not your burial region's turn to speak in this universe. Since you have already been defeated, there is no need for you to exist. The voice of the ancestral hall's great ancestor also arrived. His hair fluttered in the wind, and he was boiling with anger. Their race had lost an almighty being. This kind of heavy blow had not occurred for countless years. But now, this almighty being had died at the hands of the burial region's race. This kind of humiliation made the ancestral hall's great ancestor go mad with hatred. As the ancestral hall's supreme leader, how could he swallow this resentment? Is the battle between almighty beings about to erupt? Everyone in the starry skies was in a state of panic. Countless races began to evacuate, worried that an extraordinary calamity would occur that would destroy this part of the starry skies. If they didn't evacuate now, it would be too late. Once that kind of battle occurred, no one would be able to survive. Two almighty beings had arrived. They had arrived from the depths of the universe, heading towards this place that was riddled with holes. It was as if two grand universes were arranged here, releasing resplendent divine light that illuminated the sea of stars. The battle between almighty beings was about to erupt at any moment. Moreover, Two almighty beings stood out at the same time to deal with the old leader. The old leader's heroic bearing was not reduced in the slightest. He was similarly incomparably domineering. His head of disheveled hair danced in the wind. Killing intent shot out from his eyes like heavenly blades that could split apart the universe. The blood of anger within his body was ignited. This was his old rival. Back then, after their battle, there had been peace for over 100 years. Now that they were encountering each other again, all sorts of terrifying lights were emitted. Not good. Far away in the Milky Way galaxy, Xiaohu opened his heavenly eyes and gazed at the battlefield. His expression finally changed. Even the expressions of the various peak races changed. Today's battle situation had far exceeded their expectations. There was an exceptionally mysterious and ancient aura attacking the battlefield. It was as if they were attacking almighty beings. One after another, terrifying giants with terrifying auras attacked. They were shrouded in the ancient aura of primal chaos and dreadful forbidden power. It was as if three ancient universes were staring coldly at the old leader. Heavens, what kind of situation is this? Even the Divine King was shocked. That was because 5 almighty beings had stood out. They stood towering in all directions and were glaring at the old leader like tigers eyeing their prey. This made one's skin and bones tremble. A total of 5 almighty beings had arrived, and 3 of them were hiding their true bodies within the primal chaos. Their auras were considerably ancient and mysterious. They were definitely the terrifying leaders of the primal chaos ruins. They should be experts from certain forbidden regions. In the Milky Way galaxy, Fairy Zixia activated a rare space-time secret treasure and saw the scene in the broken starry sky. Her lustrous white charming face was full of solemnity. Moreover, her pair of black pupils had turned purple and were emitting a demonic radiance. She had vaguely seen through their identities. What? Experts from the forbidden regions? He Xingjia's expression changed. As a disciple of the Tao Temple, how could he not know about the forbidden regions of the primal chaos ruins? Some were hidden in the ancient universe, while others were hidden in danger zones. They rarely appeared, but when they did, they would definitely shock the world. Many forbidden regions and danger zones were beyond Fairy Zixia's understanding. Only the Divine King had certain qualifications. The primal chaos ruins were definitely more complicated than the legends of the universe. It seems that the Queen Progenitor is hiding a great secret. It was fine before it appeared, but once it did, it would be a great disaster. Miser's voice was solemn. Your old leader is indeed terrifying, but 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. This battle is going to be difficult. Perhaps other tribes will join in and hunt down the old leader. Now there were 5 almighty beings. They were joining forces to deal with the old leader of the primal chaos ruins. Su Yan clenched his fist. He had thought that there was a turning point, but he hadn't expected that others would come to pick the peach. Were they here for the Snow Mountain Dragon coffin on Earth? Or for some other reason? But no matter what, before they landed on Earth, they had to kill the old leader. Otherwise, their backyard would be in trouble. Let's join forces and share the good fortune. One of the ancient beings spoke. His voice was like a cosmic bell, and his eyes emitted a cold light that pierced through the universe. The aura of the 3 experts hidden in the primal chaos began to spread, steaming with all kinds of terrifying light. They were too strong. Although they didn't reveal their true bodies, only a part of their energy was released. It was enough to shock the world. They definitely had supreme combat power. They wanted to join forces with them to deal with the old leader. However, what was surprising was that the ancestors of the Ancestral Hall and the ancestors of the Dark Nether race didn't respond. What was going on? What kind of good fortune were they going to share? Some of the top tribes didn't know, but some of the mysterious forbidden regions, the Ancestral Hall, and the Dark Nether race knew more or less. The later progenitor hid a great secret. Many legends had been passed down since ancient times. As for the legend of obtaining the later progenitor and obtaining the entire universe, they didn't really believe it. However, their ancestors had been in some incomplete universes and learned of some people and matters that were difficult to trace back to. In that era, the ancestral hall didn't exist, because it was related to some very special and complicated matters. But no matter what, it was related to the burial realms race. However, many clues and spearheads pointed to a mysterious ancient life planet. Now that it had surfaced, it was time to decipher the secrets of this ancient life planet. Hee hee. In the primal chaos, cold laughter rang out. Some people were unhappy. They hadn't expected the ancestral hall and the dark nether race to avoid answering. However, they weren't too surprised. After all, there were some things that they couldn't decide. Are you sure? Their voices were cold. You want to start a war with us? Can you bear the consequences? As soon as these words fell, it was as if something had been awakened. This kind of fluctuation made them feel suffocated. Even the powerful experts felt their breathing become heavy. It was as if the universe was colliding, as if a power originating from the long river of time was spreading. This involved too many things. Even the ancestral hall's ancestors wouldn't easily make a decision. What other secrets does the buried realm race have? Rumor has it that the decline of the buried realm race was related to some of the forbidden regions in these primal chaos ruins. Could it be that they wanted to obtain something from the buried realm race? Could it be that they didn't obtain it back then, but traced it back to this generation? Some people trembled. They felt that they were overthinking things because the years involved were too long. Millions of years had passed. Many people didn't know the truth. After all, a race that was once glorious and prosperous must have some secrets and secrets. Perhaps it was worth spying on for so many years without letting go. Ha 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 ha! The old chief laughed loudly. His essence blood surged, and the world exploded. It was as if an immortal furnace was burning. A group of dead creatures hiding in the dark dares to vainly try to influence my race. The old chief's domineering aura overflowed into the heavens. He coldly shouted, "If not for my race, would you have lived until now? Sooner or later, I will pierce through the entire world and kill you all as sacrifices." So what if there were 5 powerful experts? The old chief wasn't scared at all. He was full of terrifying might. Moreover, behind him, a terrifying banner rose. Even though it was tattered, the instant it arrived, it seemed to cover the entire starry sky, crushing the long river of time and space. This was just too terrifying. The old chief produced a tattered war banner that was soaked in all types of blood. It continuously shone, full of great fear. Chapter 756. This tattered war banner appeared, emitting all kinds of multicolored bloody lights. Every type of bloody light was like a bloody heavenly dragon, enough to pierce through the sea of stars and sink the boundless earth. It was extremely special and mysterious, as if it was once a complete supreme treasure. Although it was broken, it still emitted an aura that soared into the sky and split open the sea. It swept up all kinds of storms and shook the sea of stars. It was difficult to imagine just how powerful it was. What kind of treasure is this? Xiaoho and the others were surprised. The buried realm race did not have this kind of treasure. However, they felt that this treasure was extremely powerful and could help the old leader block the calamity. It would definitely be like adding wings to a tiger. It would be of great help to the old leader. They speculated that the old leader might have gone on an adventure in the primal chaos ruins and passed through some dangerous land. Perhaps he obtained a mysterious supreme treasure in some damaged universe, allowing his battle prowess to rise sharply. Xiaoho and the others could keenly feel that the old leader was even more terrifying than before. He must have obtained some kind of great opportunity left behind by history, just like how Su Yan obtained the water of life. It was not surprising that there was such a treasure in the primal chaos ruins, but the chances of it being unearthed were too low. A powerful expert might not necessarily be able to find one in their lifetime. After all, The primal chaos ruins were unimaginably vast and would only be fully opened at certain times. Hong Long. The tattered war banner was released. It was incomparably terrifying in the old leader's hands. No one doubted that he could tear apart the entire world with a light wave. The entire world was trembling. Everyone was scared stiff by the tattered war banner. There were even more experts who were frightened by the old leader's boldness. Could it be that the buried realm race's supreme expert was going to fight 1 against 5 today? However, no matter how strong he was, could he defeat 5 powerful experts working together? Even if he grasped a supreme treasure, it would still be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The buried realm race is really going through a rough patch. I originally thought it was just the ancestral hall and the dark underworld race, but now there are terrifying old monsters coming out one after another to deal with them. However, some people sighed. This could not be helped. Once the old leader retreated to the Milky Way, then the Milky Way would truly be trapped. Destruction was only a matter of time. Even if the Milky Way could withstand it, then the buried realm race would be completely sealed off at the edge of the universe. They would have no fate with the primal chaos ruins in the future. Now that the old leader was standing in the universe, no matter who it was a type of deterrence, making them not daring to act blindly without thinking. The ancestral territory was a bloody example that had truly intimidated all the major clans. Even the restless peak clans did not dare to act rashly. You really are pitiful, not understanding a bit of the truth, Jie. Someone in the primal chaos sneered, his voice full of disdain, feeling like the old chief's methods were laughable. Piercing through heaven and earth? Who do you think you are? Reincarnation of the Celestial Emperor? What a joke. There are some cruel truths that I don't know if I should tell you. Another person spoke with a dignified tone. Following that, a huge and blurry silhouette appeared from the chaos. It was as tall as a mountain, as if a prehistoric giant beast was roaming about. I don't think there's a need to tell him now. Let him die a little more easily, there's no need to be so cruel. A third figure in the primal chaos spoke. It was a woman. Her figure could not be seen clearly, but her curves were undulating. She was a female almighty. You're the ones who are pathetic. If I were you, I'd rather kill myself. The old leader's words were cold. Under the cover of the tattered war flag, he turned into a blood-red overlord. He was extremely terrifying and intimidating. He even directly attacked. Boom! The old leader instantly waved the war flag and smashed it into the primal chaos. Just like that, a great battle broke out. No one expected it to be so sudden. A total of 5 almighties had joined forces. Reality was very cruel. No matter what the truth was, they still chose to join forces to suppress the old leader of the buried realm race. Xiahou rushed over with a sullen face. He wanted to borrow the universe bridge and universe clock to help the old leader. Although Xiahou was now a half-step almighty, he did not have the strength to participate in the battle. However, if he had these 2 treasures, the situation would be different. Tai Gongji smiled bitterly and generously handed over the universe bridge and the universe clock to Xiahou. This made He Xingjie's expression change. Regardless of the relationship between Tai Gongji and the Tao Temple, the buried region's race would soon face the threat of extinction. Lending the universe bridge and universe clock to them would implicate the Tao Church. Although the Tao Church was not afraid of trouble, provoking the Forbidden Zone for no reason was a great threat to them. However, Xiahou had just received them when he shook his head with a bitter smile and returned the universe bridge and universe clock. Damn it, this bunch of old farts only gave me 2 treasures but did not unseal them. These things can only be used for traveling. They have no other use. The old man was very angry, but he was alert. Could it be that the Tao Church already knew that the situation would develop in this direction? They were like headless wasps. They did not know how many secrets there were. They only felt that they were extremely insignificant in the face of the overflowing undercurrent. Grandpa Xiao, I almost forgot something. Su Yan's expression changed slightly. He quickly told him about Luo Yu. Things were urgent back then, and he did not have time to search for him. My race's almighty left behind a killing move. Xiao released his divine sense and searched the progenitor behind him. When Xiao died, he sacrificed everything, including his physical body. Su Yan felt that there was something left behind that might be useful to Xiao. Soon, Xiao found an ancient armor. It was golden and stained with Luo Yu's blood. This is force armor. Xiao's eyes flashed with surprise after he carefully identified it. This ancient golden armor was a type of force armor. This was the force armor that Su Yan obtained after Luo Yu passed away. Xiao had heard of the golden force armor before. It belonged to the force armor series with extremely high specifications. Even the Divine King found it difficult to operate it. If a half-step Almighty moved it, it could increase his combat power by a large margin. This was too important for Xiao. He could not help but laugh. Very good. With the help of this thing, I have more confidence. I'll leave first. Su Yan and the rest of you leave immediately. Don't waste any more time. The Milky Way is not suitable for you to stay any longer. Xiao said in a serious tone. He did not stay any longer. He put on the force armor and left. With this thing in hand, he was confident that he could resist a powerful Almighty and reduce the pressure on the old leader. Su Delong and the rest stood up and prepared to ask Su Yan and the rest to leave. They were prepared for the worst. If the old leader and the rest were really forced into the Milky Way, then the Milky Way would really become a dangerous place in the future. It was very likely that no one would be able to leave. When that day came, all connections between the Milky Way and the universe would be cut off. Therefore, it was better to ask Su Yan and the rest to leave the rear progenitor first. After all, Su Yan and the rest needed growth and strength. Squatting in the rear progenitor was not the way to go. However, many people were unwilling to leave. They wanted to stay and do their part. To Su Dalong's surprise, the leaders of the various families walked over and said that they would not leave. Since they had come, they did not plan to leave. Moreover, the rear progenitor was very suitable for them to cultivate. The Blood Lion Divine King and the rest had been wandering outside for many years. Since they had decided to return, they did not plan to leave the rear progenitor for even half a step. Su Delong sighed and did not want to say more. He was thinking about the current situation of the rear progenitor. It was not necessarily going to be defeated. It was better to stay. Su Yan, you have to think carefully. The rear progenitor is no longer suitable for you to grow. Now that the calamity of our race has reached this stage, you will not be of much help to the race if you stay here. I hope you will leave now. Su Dalong's words made the Blood Lion Divine King and the rest nod. They hoped that Su Yan would go to the Chaos Ruins and find his way to invincibility. Su Yan could even kill a celestial. He no longer needed the protection of any strong person. He could completely go through the cruel experience in the universe alone. They were looking forward to Su Yan's return in the future. How strong would he be? Let's go. Although this was a little sudden, Su Yan was also prepared. He clenched his fists. He especially wanted to know what was going on with Baokai now. Had the monster realm started a war with the Yinyang Road? After hesitating for a moment, Su Yan instantly made up his mind. He had to leave. Firstly, Su Yan had already verified his Tao on Earth, and even passed the 5th stage. Moreover, he was standing at the peak of the great Tao realm. In the next stage, Su Yan would definitely have to comprehend the chaos and the deity realm. Then, Su Yan's next destination was the Chaos Ruins. Therefore, he had to rush out and explore the vast universe. He had to step into the deity realm as soon as possible so that he could become an independent expert. Most importantly, Su Yan had to track down Baokai. I'm leaving, Su Yan said solemnly. He wanted to find his own path of growth and work hard to become stronger. He did not want to experience the helplessness of being captured by Baokai again. Su Yan, the road ahead is dangerous. You have to be careful. The Blood Lion Divine King had been adventuring in the universe for a long time and was very experienced. He said in a deep voice, "This time, you've killed so many experts. The Ancestral Hall and the Dark Underworld race definitely hate you to the core. You have to be careful. Don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Don't make decisions that you're not confident in." He Xingjie pursed his lips. He was not just being careful. He was really worried that Su Yan would be killed as soon as he left. Su Yan. Isi Yun had snow-white skin and was elegant and refined. She looked at him with her bright eyes and said, "Come with me to the Dao Palace. The Dao Palace is a huge force in the Chaos Ruins. It doesn't participate in the disputes of the outside world. It's definitely a very good place to cultivate." Before Su Yan could reply, He Xingjie said proudly, "The Dao Palace doesn't accept just anyone. Our Dao Palace is the strongest Dao sect in the universe. It's not a place where you can enter just because you want to." "Brat, are you saying that the strongest expert of the younger generation of my race can't even enter the Dao Palace?" The Blood Lion Divine King's voice was like a clap of thunder. He Xingjie jumped in fright and his expression changed. The old Divine King stared at He Xingjie like a tiger watching its prey. This gave him a headache. This was not the Dao Palace's territory. He quickly smiled apologetically and said, "Senior, what are you saying? That's not what I meant. I just wanted to say that the Dao Palace is a place of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Even the four supremes of this universe are not invincible in the Dao Palace." The Blood Lion Divine King snorted. The Dao Palace was indeed a place of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. If Su Yan went to the Dao Palace with his identity, he would probably be targeted by all parties and would definitely delay Su Yan's cultivation. "Brat, you're quite arrogant." The miser cast a sidelong glance at him and said with an unfriendly expression, "What, are you not satisfied with the Dao Palace's eldest senior brother that I personally appointed?" He Xingjie's face darkened as he replied, "There are many disciples with frightening backgrounds in the Taoist temple. There are even young paragons in the forbidden lands of the Chaos Ruins. There are even rising stars who dominated an incomplete universe. Who dares to claim to be number one in the Taoist temple? Even the Supremes don't dare to say that." Chapter 757. The struggle for hegemony in the Chaos Ruins was the most terrifying battlefield at the end of every epoch. When this era truly arrived, the universe would be filled with demons. Many young powerhouses would appear one after another and write their own legends. Every race and faction that was qualified to participate would prepare for this day for a long time. The invincible experts they nurtured would enter the Chaos Ruins and fight for all kinds of heaven-defying opportunities. Once they won, they would conquer a vast territory. In the future, they would definitely lead their race to rise in the universe and enjoy glory for generations. There were even many geniuses who had been sealed since ancient times or even tens of thousands of years who would participate in the struggle for hegemony in the Chaos Ruins. And the Dao Hall would definitely be the most intense place for hegemony. If one claimed to be number one in the Dao Hall, wouldn't that be the same as claiming to be number one in the world in front of his peers? Even the Supremes would have to consider the consequences. Once such a claim was made, he would definitely become the enemy of the entire world. Even the Supremes would most likely suffer a grievance. Since ancient times, no one dared to claim to be invincible. Even the Almighty wouldn't claim to be their enemy in the long river of time. Unless they killed their peers until they trembled and looked down on all the geniuses in the world, they would be revered by the world. But how many of these young powerhouses had appeared in the universe over the long years? My brother even killed Zhu Tian. What's the big deal about being called eldest senior brother? Tensor expressed his opinion. He chuckled and said, "Of course, my brother has always kept a low profile. It wouldn't be a problem for him to be called one of the top 10 powerhouses in the universe. Would it be difficult for him to cultivate in the Tao Hall? I don't believe that the experts in the Tao Hall wouldn't be jealous. In the future hegemony of the universe, the younger generation would definitely rank the top 10 invincible powerhouses. But to claim to be number one? Since ancient times, how many people could claim to be number one and look down on their peers? I don't think so. He Xingjie looked at Tensor and said coldly, killing Zhu Tian is easier said than done. I've also heard about it. It's definitely not that simple. Zhu Tian's mark is an invincible mark. It's impossible to kill the past Zhu Tian. As disciples of the Tao Hall, He Xingjie and the others had some understanding of the secrets of the peak races in the universe. The Zhu Tian's mark had been passed down for a long time. It wasn't something that could be destroyed so easily. Zhu Tian isn't dead? Yi Yuan and the rest were astonished. Su Yan had indeed killed Zhu Tian, and they had seen it with their own eyes. Could it be that Zhu Tian was still alive? Or rather, he still had some very special secret techniques that were still alive. Tensor and the others looked at He Xingjie suspiciously. Did this brat know something? Don't look at me like that. I really don't know if His Highness Daozu has such a mystical secret technique, but Zhu Tian won't die so easily. He Xingjie didn't believe that Zhu Tian had fallen. The ancestral hall was the greatest reaper in every epoch. Zhu Tian was even invincible in the river of time. How could he be so easily killed by Su Yan? With Zhu Tian's status, the ancestral hall must have used all sorts of methods to protect him from disasters. Even if he really did encounter unfathomable danger, how could it be easy to kill him? He didn't believe that Su Yan alone could kill Zhu Tian. Regardless of whether he's dead or not, Zhu Tian has already lost. The little Lion King was tall and had a deterrent force. Even if Zhu Tian was still alive, Su Yan had already killed him once. This was also Su Yan's strongest battle since his debut. It could be said that this was a battle that would determine Su Yan's status. In the entire universe, how many people could compete with Su Yan? Speaking of Zhu Tian's imprint, Su Yan muttered in his heart. How strong was the imprint he had obtained? He clearly remembered that his imprint had devoured the energy essence of Zhu Tian's imprint, and his imprint had clearly become stronger. This was a little strange. Who would believe it if he told others? Then, could his imprint devour the imprint of a supreme star domain? If this was really possible, it would be incredible. It was equivalent to forcefully seizing the fortune of their star domain and obtaining the fruit of the universe's Tao. The imprint Su Yan had obtained was the crystallization of the immortal planet's imprint and the Earth's imprint. He felt that he should study it carefully. In the future, it might be one of his trump cards. Even if Brother Su Yan killed Zhu Tian, you are still the number one of the epoch. This title is too frightening. It will definitely bring about endless calamity. A disciple of the Tao Hall walked out and said to Su Yan, Su Yan, you are indeed powerful. It won't be a problem for you to enter the Tao Hall. Given your situation, there will definitely be almighties watching you. Adventuring in the universe? The mortality rate is too high. Su Yan had never thought of joining other factions. No one could teach him the initiation sutra. He could only rely on himself. You should cultivate well in the Tao Hall. I'm afraid that the experts of the Tao Hall will come here to receive you. Su Yan smiled at Yun and said, If I have the chance to go to the Chaos Ruins, I will definitely visit you at the Tao Hall. Upon hearing this, He Xingjie's old habit acted up again. He sneered and said, The Tao Hall does not allow outsiders to enter. Su Yan, I think you should come with us and wait for the experts of the Tao Hall to come and take you away. I'm standing here. Does your Tao Hall dare take me away? Su Yan's deep eyes landed on Luo Xingjie. His voice caused the surroundings to fall silent. Being stared at by Su Yan, He Xingjie could not help but feel a chill in his heart. It was as though he was being stared at by a giant beast. His hands trembled slightly and his breathing became heavy. It made it hard for him to breathe. This pressure made He Xingjie feel ashamed. He had not expected to break out in a cold sweat from Su Yan's gaze. It was really embarrassing. However, he did not know what to say in rebuttal. With Su Yan's current situation, even if Su Yan went to the Dao Hall, would the Dao Hall dare to accept him as a disciple? Su Yan, that's not necessarily the case. Why don't you wait here? This is a very rare opportunity for you. A disciple stood out and said. He felt that Su Yan was looking down on the Dao Hall. If your Dao Hall really wanted to get involved in this mess, you wouldn't have sealed the Universe Bridge and Universe Bell. Little Lion King sneered. You. The group of Dao Hall disciples glared at Little Lion King. The auras of these disciples were extremely terrifying. The energy in their bodies surged faintly, like dozens of burning suns in the sky. They were extremely powerful. No one doubted their combat strength. However, He Xingjie and company did not dare to use force here. After witnessing their ferocity, they had a deep fear of this group of people. I'm too lazy to talk to them, He Xingjie said coldly to the disciple next to him. Without powerful resources, peerless training grounds, and the support of the Dao Hall, do you think it's possible to stand out among the endless geniuses? Some disciples shook their heads and sneered. It was not that they looked down on the large groups of the universe, but in the chaos ruins, there were places of fortune that they could not imagine. However, without the support of a powerful force, how could they survive in the chaos ruins? Boom! There was a sudden explosion. The world lost its color and the galaxy lost its light. It was a shuddering sight. After all, it came too suddenly. The entire Milky Way was affected by the sudden sweep of the aura and violently distorted. It was like a supreme heavenly object that suppressed the universe had come back to life. They're here. Miser warned. Damn it, we can't leave now. A terrifying treasure is awakening. The Universe Bridge did not detect it in advance. Su Dalong's expression was serious. The Universe Bridge was the most precious treasure of the Dao Hall. It was a top treasure of the space-time type, second only to supreme treasures. However, in the space-time domain, the Universe Bridge was not inferior to supreme treasures. However, even the Universe Bridge did not detect the treasure in advance. The sudden appearance of the treasure shocked them. What's that? At the edge of the Milky Way, the vast starry sky seemed to be covered. It was like a heavenly projection from the immortal realm, covering the boundless starry sky. What a terrifying treasure! Even with the layout of the Milky Way, they could feel the power of the treasure projected over. It was like a celestial painting, filled with the power to suppress the heavens. It was vast and boundless, covering tens of thousands of miles of the starry sky. Bamboo Moon's expression was serious. She quietly clenched her lily-white hands. Her bright eyes looked at the magnificent painting rushing toward the Milky Way. She was absent-minded. The domain-shaking painting scroll. The divine king of the blood lion was shocked. He was tall and majestic, like a blood-red lion. However, he was extremely afraid of the domain-shaking painting scroll. This was an extremely terrifying treasure that originated from the chaotic ruins and was controlled by a forbidden life zone. There were many imitations of this item in the cultivation world. However, the legendary real item could suppress an entire galaxy once it was used. Even the most powerful ancient star would be under extreme pressure. If this great weapon was used on the battlefield and targeted at the Milky Way, it would be too dangerous. The domain-shaking painting scroll alone was enough to cut off their escape route. Damn it! Miser's expression was particularly ugly. This was the domain-shaking painting scroll, which could suppress the Universe Bridge. Then, they saw a terrifying figure emerge. He walked out of the domain-shaking painting scroll. He was more dazzling than the sun, like the king of the sun with a head full of golden hair. This was a man with a terrifying aura. He had borrowed the power of the domain-shaking painting scroll and rushed over from a distant place. As his figure gradually became clearer, his light suppressed the boundless starry sky and made it lose its luster. Many people turned pale, including He Xingjie and the others. That was because this was a relatively young expert. However, he had the aura of a peerless expert. With a slight breath, the sun, moon, and stars would tremble. They seriously suspected that this was a half-step powerhouse. This person had come and even charged directly into the Milky Way. He was too astonishing. The light he released was even more intense than the solar system. What kind of powerful hero was this? Follow me. When he spoke, the divine king of the blood lion was shocked. This young man with a terrifying aura was talking to Bamboo Moon. Especially his tone, it was as if he was ordering Bamboo Moon. Su Yen looked at Zhu Yu and realized that there was something wrong with Zhu Yu's emotions. Could this person be an elite from the Sky Bamboo faction? Was he going to take her home? Bamboo Moon did not respond. She only looked at this young man. She quickly walked out of her emotions and became very calm. She said indifferently, "Are you ordering me? This place is going to be chaotic. It's not suitable for you to stay here. This ancient life planet will soon be occupied by various forces. It won't be so easy to leave. When the time comes, I won't have much authority to speak." This person spoke calmly. His long golden hair danced faintly, revealing a terrifying majesty. He was like a young giant who could suppress heaven and earth. His long golden hair cut through the void. It was extremely frightening. However, his words made the divine king of the blood lion and the others furious. Yi Lingtian even cursed, "Young man, your tone is really big. You scared me. My name is Qiuming." His calm reply contained a great majesty. He was like an invincible supreme being. He was abnormally terrifying. His whole body burned countless times brighter than the sun, burning the starry sky into pieces. When he said his name, it was as if he was announcing endless glory. The starry sky was suffocating. "Brothers, does anyone want a physical book of the Tao of the Emperors only? Haha, I'm going to do a small activity and give a few physical books to everyone. Follow my Weibo, Facebook, and WeChat account. Small activities will be held on Facebook and WeChat account. Search Ye Qintian to follow me." Chapter 758. What is he talking about? The faces of all the disciples changed. They were all too familiar with this name because it was often mentioned by the experts of the Taoist temple as a goal for them to move forward. Qiuming. Hiss, they all remembered, and their hearts were filled with shock. The name Qiuming was indeed full of supreme glory and brilliance. He could be called a legend in the Chaos Ruins. It could be traced back to 500 years ago. Qiuming was born in a peerless manner and looked down on his peers. In that era, the 4 heavenly sovereigns in the universe had yet to appear. The years 500 years ago seemed to belong to Qiuming's era. This also contained all the secret. After all, the struggle for hegemony in the Chaos Ruins had yet to begin. He was born very early, and the major forces originally thought that Qiuming would enter a state of hibernation. But no one expected Qiuming to walk step by step to the peak 500 years ago. He had long been known as the peerless divine king, and was finally known as one of the experts who had the most hope to step into the almighty realm. Qiuming's strength was unquestionable. He had an invincible foundation in the divine king realm. It was rumored that Qiuming could compete with a half-step almighty in the divine king realm. His blood essence was close to the almighty realm. How terrifying and awe-inspiring was this! It shocked all races. Qiuming was truly a legend among the younger generation. Although it was only 500 years since his rise, everyone knew that it would be easy for Qiuming to break through to the half-step almighty realm. He had been waiting for an opportunity to break through to the almighty realm and become one of the most terrifying almighties in the world. Fairy Zixiao was a little absent-minded. She did not expect such a legendary figure to come here. Qiu Ming was not only a legend of the younger generation, but he also represented a life forbidden zone behind him. He was a giant who controlled the domain-shaking painting scroll. This is not the place for you to show off. Bamboo Moon's clothes fluttered, and her aura grew stronger. She was like a fairy standing on the Moon Palace as she spoke to Qiu Ming. How can you say that about Qiu Ming? A female disciple of the Taoist temple was furious. She admired Qiu Ming very much, but she did not expect Bamboo Moon to say such things to Qiu Ming. This made her extremely angry, and she glared at Bamboo Moon. However, Bamboo Moon's appearance and temperament made her feel inferior. I'm saving you now. Qiu Ming frowned. He was a little angry, and even the starry sky changed color. His every word and action could affect the universe. This degree of mastery of Tao and magic was truly beyond the reach of those of his generation. Even He Xingjie and the others could only watch from behind. Of course, it was also because the era of Qiu Ming's rise was relatively far away. They had only cultivated for 100 or 200 years. How could they be compared to Qiu Ming? Don't you think your words are ridiculous? Bamboo Moon frowned. She sneered. Besides, you and I don't have such a close relationship. The expressions of He Xingjie and the others were not normal. They were all thinking in their hearts. They felt that there was something else going on. After all, this matter was related to Qiu Ming. They were communicating in low voices, wanting to know more about Qiu Ming's past and investigate a historical event that had been erased. It seems like you still hold a grudge over what happened in the past. Qiu Ming was silent for a while. He stood in the solar system, and his body was glowing. He was very powerful and extremely valiant. He was a legend among his peers, and he was full of charm. There are some things you don't understand. I also punished Wei Ran in the past. Qiu Ming sighed slightly. Come back with me. Some things are inconvenient to say here. You will understand my efforts in the future. Wei Ran. Han Wei Ran. He Xingjie and the others exclaimed, What's going on? Didn't the outside world say that Qiu Ming and Han Wei Ran were a perfect couple? But Qiu Ming punished Wei Ran for the master of Big Dipper? Oh my God, this world is crazy. Qiu Ming said it in front of us. Isn't he afraid that this matter will leak out and embarrass Wei Ran? It was rumored that Han Weiran was infatuated with Qiu Ming, and Han Weiran was a renowned goddess in the chaotic ruins. Her combat strength was extremely formidable and terrifying to the extreme, and her status was extremely noble and illustrious as well. However, He Xingjie had spoken like this now, so wasn't he humiliating Han Weiran? You said that she is an expert from the Heavenly Bamboo sect? Fairy Zixia asked Su Yin about Bamboo Moon's origin. In the end, her eyes glowed and she was unusually excited. It was obvious that she had caught the truth of the matter. Su Yin keenly discovered that Qiu Ming and Bamboo Moon had been seriously injured before. He asked Fairy Zixia and obtained the truth that he had always wanted to know. It is said that a genius with the heavenly moon body was born in the Heavenly Bamboo sect. The Heavenly Bamboo sect held a banquet and invited experts from all over. Coincidentally, Qiu Ming also went. At that time, Qiu Ming said too much to this talented girl and angered Han Wei Ran. Fairy Zixia obviously knew the inside story. She transmitted her voice to Su Yin. This Han Wei Ran has a special liking for Qiu Ming. Moreover, Han Wei Ran helped Qiu Ming's growth a lot. But it is said that Qiu Ming has always been indifferent to Han Wei Ran. However, at the banquet, Qiu Ming said too much to the talented girl of the Heavenly Bamboo sect and angered Han Wei Ran. Han Wei Ran's family also hoped that Qiu Ming could become her cultivation companion. As far as I know, the talented girl of the Heavenly Bamboo sect was already famous and was known as one of the top 10 beauties in the Chaos Ruins. Because Han Wei Ran was jealous, she used her family's methods and made the Heavenly Bamboo sect force Bamboo Moon away. Fairy Zixia sneered. For Chiu-Ming, this Han Wei-ran could be said to have used any method. She directly treated Bamboo Moon as a love rival. After all, in order to make the Heavenly Bamboo sect force Bamboo Moon away, the Han family must have paid a huge price. Flames of fury rose in Su Yan's heart. This was too despicable. At that time, Bamboo Moon was alone and in her early 20s. Her cultivation level was also very low. She was forced out of the family by the family's experts. Even Han Wei-ran had said that whoever dared to take Bamboo Moon in would be an enemy of the entire Han family. That incident back then had caused a lot of commotion. After all, it involved the legendary Chiu-Ming and the colossal power of the Han family. At that time, Bamboo Moon's situation was very dangerous and she could die at any time. In the end, Bamboo Moon met the old Star Lord on the way. Just like that, Bamboo Moon became Hokuto's disciple. That was a period of the past. Fairy Zixia knew a lot about it. However, after Bamboo Moon stepped into the Great Virtue Realm, the Heavenly Bamboo sect came and took Bamboo Moon away. Fairy Zixia was very clear about what happened next. Because of the opening of an incomplete universe, Bamboo Moon had chosen to go back. Moreover, in order to open this incomplete universe, one had to have the Star-Moon constitution. This incomplete universe was very helpful to Bamboo Moon. Su Yan, that incomplete universe caused a great disturbance. Chiu-Ming and the others went there. According to my understanding, because a treasure was taken away by a talented girl, the Han family hunted her down. It's said that the talented girl died. After that, the Heavenly Bamboo sect didn't do anything to the Han family. After all, a dead talented girl might not be worth the Heavenly Bamboo sect making a big fuss over. After hearing this, Su Yan found it hard to calm down. This was Bamboo Moon's encounter. No wonder Bamboo Moon wasn't willing to return to the family. Han Wei-ran was still alive, but Bamboo Moon had almost died. Let me tell you something else. Back then, an expert from the Han family was invited by the Heavenly Bamboo sect to go to Hokuto. Fairy Zixia giggled and said, "The Han family is one of the ancestors of the mystic sect. In order to deduce your whereabouts, didn't you beat up Zhu Pengyi?" Su Yan clenched his fists so tightly that they made cracking sounds. Anger surged. Bamboo Moon had almost been killed by the Han family, but the Heavenly Bamboo sect and the Han family still had dealings. Fairy Zixia speculated that this was an internal matter of the Heavenly Bamboo sect. Bamboo Moon must have lacked the support of her family. That was why this had happened. Since ancient times, Overlord families have been the most ruthless. Fairy Zixia said with some melancholy, "After all, this kind of power has given birth to many geniuses. However, no matter who they nurture, it's better to nurture their own descendants. The talented girl is obviously just a sacrifice." Speaking of which, Bamboo Moon's encounter was directly related to Chiu-Ming. However, Chiu-Ming hadn't said a word from beginning to end. "I've said so much, but you still don't want to go with me." Chiu-Ming swallowed the starry sky. He looked at Bamboo Moon and said, "The catastrophe is coming. The situation here is very complicated. No matter what happened before, you should leave now." "Can't you see that you're not welcome here?" Bamboo Moon replied coldly. "All right, since you don't want to go now, I'll do my best to protect you after a while." Chiu-Ming sighed slightly and continued, "Before I leave, I want to take something with me. That stone should be on you." The stone. Su Yan lowered his head and thought. He suddenly remembered that he had obtained the black divine metal, which contained the inheritance of the strange doors. He only had a part of it back then, but Bamboo Moon also had a part of it. Since the Han family had the inheritance of the strange doors, they would definitely covet this piece of divine metal. Although the content above the divine metal was only the first half of the chapter on the strange doors, its value was already shocking enough. Otherwise, Su Yan wouldn't have such a strong array cultivation. He even believed that the strange doors stone he had obtained was incomplete. However, Bamboo Moon had already given that thing to Su Yan. It seems that my guess was right. You came here for that stone. Bamboo Moon shook her head gently, a trace of sarcasm flashing in her eyes. That thing helped me a lot. Chiu Ming said in a deep voice, in the future, when I become a mighty figure, you will understand my painstaking efforts. There are some things that I can't tell you now. You're really hypocritical. Su Yen couldn't stand it anymore. He stood up and scolded, You still want to become a mighty figure in the future? Give me all the treasures you have. When I become a celestial emperor in the future, you will also understand my painstaking efforts. Su Yen, what are you doing? How dare you? Who allowed you to say that? Many disciples of the Tao Temple were shocked and angry. That was Chiu Ming, their idol. Su Yen didn't even have the right to talk to Chiu Ming, let alone with such an attitude. Chiu Ming ignored Su Yen and ignored him. He continued to sigh at Bamboo Moon and said, I think. Before Chiu Ming could finish his words, Su Yen pointed at him and said, If you are sincere, come down and talk. Why are you always squatting up there? What you want isn't simple. Come down and talk. How dare you? Chiu Ming scolded angrily. The vast starry sky shook. His eyes were like torches as he stared at Su Yen. They contained overflowing divine might as he scolded, Ant-like thing. Ant is it? Su Yen shouted, Come down and fight with the great Tao realm. Let's see who's the ant. He Xingjie and the others wanted to curse. Was Chiu Ming an ordinary person? He was invincible in all major domains. They didn't think that Su Yen could withstand more than a few moves from Chiu Ming. I can't be bothered to talk to a dead person, especially a piece of trash who can't even be called an ant. Chiu Ming said coldly and arrogantly, The living beings on this ancient life planet will soon be completely harvested. My race will also participate in the harvest. He spoke as if the wheat had ripened and it was time to reap it. Little fairy. Su Delong couldn't help but look at Bamboo Moon. Chapter 759. Then I'll send him on his way. Su Delong had long since lost control. His combat strength boiled and his killing intent filled the air. The Divine King's strength began to fluctuate. This scene made He Xingjie and the others want to laugh. They especially felt that Su Dalong's words were laughable. Who was Chiu Ming? He was a worthy, peerless Divine King, an existence with the qualifications to break through to the next realm. After all, he was still very young and would certainly have his own era in the future. The current Chiu Ming was terrifying enough. Throughout the vast universe, who knew how many forces wanted to establish relations with this young king who would have a great impact on the universe in the future? And Chiu Ming had the life-forbidden zone behind him, as well as an overlord force. He could truly be called a giant of the younger generation, an existence who could summon the wind and summon the rain. Moreover, with his combat strength, how many people in the entire world of cultivation could compare to him? He wasn't someone some veteran divine king could compare to. It wasn't that they were looking down on Chiu Ming, but that Chiu Ming was just too terrifying. Boom! When a deafening bang exploded and the starry sky was shattered, what made He Xingjie and the others turn pale with fright was that Su Dalong's aura was too terrifying. It was like a starry sky dragon, causing the vast Milky Way to tremble under its influence. What kind of courage was this? It was quite frightening. At this moment, Su Delong was too powerful. He stood in the middle of a flourishing domain. His blood essence was like 100,000 dragons emerging from the sea, tearing apart the heavens. It was magnificent and majestic, making it hard to breathe. Fairy Zixiao was quite surprised. The current Su Delong absolutely surpassed many of the veteran divine kings in the Tao Temple. She really didn't expect the buried realm to have such a background. She knew that the divine king of the buried realm was not weak. He had all sorts of ancient heavenly arts and supernatural abilities protecting his body. He had even experienced endless storms of blood and was a war king who had slaughtered his way out of mountains of corpses. However, the buried realm continued to decline and their background was not strong enough. It was extremely difficult for a peerless character to emerge. For Su Yen to emerge could only be called a miracle. Of course, this was closely related to the fifth trial. Su Dalong, on the other hand, had become even more terrifying after being nourished by the cosmic mother liquid. He had surpassed the past and accumulated a shocking foundation. The essence blood in his body rushed into the heavens and surpassed the past. How can he be so strong? The expressions of He Xingjie and the others changed. The current Su Dalong was enough to shock the world and had a strong foundation. He had the foundation to break through to the next level. That Xiaohou was already strong enough. They did not expect Su Dalong to be here as well. Of course, Yi Lingtian and the Blood Lion Divine King weren't weak either. They also had this kind of foundation, and they were both related to the cosmic mother liquid. This showed the importance of this kind of rare resource. There was an entire lake in the Death Universe. If they could excavate it in the future, it would play an important role in the rise of the burial realm. Roar! A terrifying dragon's roar exploded like a primordial divine dragon emerging from the sea. Su Dalong waved his arm and tore apart the firmament as he charged toward Qiuming. His palm was boundlessly large and was enough to shatter the stars in the heavens and shake the entire solar system. Qiuming's eyes were cold. He left the solar system at an extremely fast speed, one step after another. How can this be? Why did the divine King Qiuming leave? He Xingjie and the others lost control. Qiuming could not be weaker than Su Dalong. He might even be stronger than Su Dalong. But why did he withdraw now? Qiuming, the divine king, the Yingjie of the generation, has great hopes of surviving the great calamity and breaking through to the next level. Fairy Zixia giggled and said, "He is too careful. He is afraid that the enemy will plot against him and cripple him. So he only sent out a clone, not his real body at all." F***ck. Tensor and the others could not help but curse. He was already the divine king, so what was there to be afraid of? It was not that easy to hunt down a powerful being, but Qiuming was too careful. He did not come with his real body, but sent a clone to the Milky Way system. Of course, this clone also had enough essence, qi, and spirit of Qiuming. If he really fought with Su Dalong, it would be a great blow to Qiuming's real body. "You can't leave. Stay here obediently." To the surprise of the Tao disciples, Blood Lion and Yi Lingtian immediately unleashed their peerless power. The bodies of these two god kings were like cosmic furnaces, surging and burning. It was as if two prehistoric behemoths had attacked. The three god kings acted in such a domineering manner, causing He Xingjie and the others to turn pale. The burial realm race actually had such a strong foundation. Now that they had the ancestral star, they might really be able to rise up in the future and stand firm in the universe. The entire Milky Way system trembled. The power of the three divine kings sealed the sky and began to devour Qiuming. Bastard! Qiuming's eyes flashed with a bone-piercing coldness. Has the world forgotten about me, Qiuming? You people of the buried realm are very good. I, Qiuming, will remember you. In my era, your descendants are destined to be trash. The little Lion King and the others were livid. Qiuming's tone was too arrogant. He wanted to suppress the younger generation of their race until they could not raise their head. They were all trash. Bastard, kill him! Su Dalong and the other two were furious. The vast power of the divine king spread, and even the forces behind Qiuming wanted to join in. What else was there to say? They could just start the fight. However, when their power reached out and drowned out the starry sky, it was blocked by a terrifying force. Several figures with terrifying auras walked out of the picture scroll. The leader was Zhu Yuanqing. He angrily rebuked, "Bamboo Moon, you are getting more and more out of hand. Qiuming has come personally. What are you planning to do?" Zhu Yuanqing was extremely angry. Originally, they had rushed to the Milky Way system with Xiaoming. They wanted Xiaoming to persuade Bamboo Moon to return to the family. However, they did not expect Bamboo Moon's attitude to be so firm. She directly refused. This made them very angry. After all, the situation this time was very chaotic. Bamboo Moon was a descendant of the Sky Bamboo lineage. She had chosen to stay in the back progenitor. This was something the Sky Bamboo lineage did not want to see. And you people of the buried realm, you can't even protect yourselves. How dare you provoke Xiaoming? Zhu Yuanqing was very powerful. He wore a golden robe and led several divine kings of the Sky Bamboo lineage here. They were also paying close attention to the back progenitor. When they learned that Bamboo Moon was here, they immediately rushed over. I was wondering who could be so arrogant. Su Delong laughed angrily. What? You people of the Sky Bamboo lineage also want to interfere? Aren't you a little early? Humph, my family has no interest in the buried realm. Zhu Yuanqing sneered. But you people of the buried realm have gone too far. What are you trying to do by luring my people here? Great Elder, you are wrong. Bamboo Moon replied coldly. Back then, I was almost killed by the Han family. I only survived after coming here. I have already formed karma with Earth. The matter of the Han family has already been dealt with. Zhu Yuanqing frowned. He said impatiently, back then they were forced to act. After all, you took away their family's treasure. However, they did not kill you at all. Otherwise, how could you have survived? My family and the Han family have been in contact for countless years. There have been marriages in various eras. The Han family also felt very guilty about what happened to you back then. After that, they paid a heavy price. Moreover, my family also sent experts to rescue you, but you did not follow them home. You cannot blame the family for this. Bamboo Moon sneered and did not respond to Zhu Yuanqing. What really disappointed her was that a group of people from the Sky Bamboo lineage had forced her out of the family. However, that group of people was still fine. They were even the ones who organized the rescue. If she had followed them, Bamboo Moon did not know if she was still alive. Bamboo Moon, if you are not satisfied with how this matter has been handled, we can talk about it when we get home. A divine king of the Sky Bamboo lineage stood up and smiled bitterly. No matter what, you cannot continue to participate in this matter. I can go back too. As soon as Bamboo Moon returned home, Su Yen anxiously transmitted his voice to her. How can you go back now? If you want to go back, you should go back to Hokuto. Even if you really want to go back to the family, you have to wait until you step into the Divine King's territory. Upon hearing this, Bamboo Moon transmitted her voice to Su Yen. You don't have to worry. The family will not do anything to me now. I am no longer the weak girl from back then. I will go back sooner or later and take back what belongs to me. My family has already come twice. It must be the order of the old ancestor. Their family's old ancestor would not make things difficult for Bamboo Moon. It must be because the land of fortune in the Chaos Ruins was about to open. The family urgently needed her, the star and moon body. Bamboo Moon also wanted to return to the family and take back what belonged to her. Su Yen, remember this. That piece of black divine iron is the inheritance stone of the Strange Gate lineage. It has a great origin. It is not just because of the internal inheritance. My understanding of the secrets within is limited. You will have to uncover them yourself in the future. Bamboo Moon was really going to leave. Su Yan's heart was full of reluctance. He did not know when they would meet again after she left this time. Haha, Bamboo Moon, if you have any requests, just say it. Zhu Yuanqing laughed. If it were not for the old ancestor's repeated orders, he would not have been so thick-skinned as to come over one after another. It's very simple. Remove the domain-shaking picture scroll from here. Su Yan's response made Zhu Yuanqing's expression change. He immediately growled, Are you kidding me? How can we, the Sky Bamboo lineage, speak for the forces behind Xiaoming. What? You can persuade the Han family, but you can't persuade the Sky Bamboo lineage? Bamboo Moon snorted coldly. In short, if they don't interfere and target this place, it can be considered as repaying the karma of the past. Zhu Yuanqing was silent for a while. Finally, his gaze fell on Xiaoming. Xiaoming was silent for a moment. When he was about to speak, Bamboo Moon said directly, "You can rest assured that after 10 years, I will give you that thing. If you break the agreement, I will throw that thing into the immortal graveyard. You can forget about it for the rest of your life." Zhu Yuanqing's face twitched. The immortal graveyard was a place of death that not even the Almighty dared to enter. Who in the past would dare to risk their lives in the immortal graveyard? It could be said that the immortal graveyard was the most dangerous place in the Chaos Ruins. "All right." Xiaoming nodded. He disappeared directly, along with the domain-shaking picture scroll, from the eyes of the world. Bamboo Moon was most afraid of the domain-shaking picture scroll. Those who understood it were very clear. This was because this thing focused on suppression. Its effect was much more amazing than the heavenly refining furnace and the immortal binding rope. If the domain-shaking picture scroll was used, then the Milky Way galaxy would be destroyed. The future progenitor would face a heavy blow. "Since the matter is settled, we can go now." Zhu Yuanqing breathed a sigh of relief. He had finally completed this matter. At the same time, he glanced at Su Yan with cold eyes. He didn't expect him to still be alive. It was really a surprise. "This fairy is about to leave. She helped us force back a huge force." Xia Jingang and the others looked at Bamboo Moon with gratitude. They would always remember Bamboo Moon. In the future, the progenitor could survive the disaster because of Bamboo Moon. "Su Yan, I have to go. Take care." Bamboo Moon turned her head and looked at Su Yan. Her eyes were bright and blooming. She was also looking forward to seeing Su Yan rise again in the future in the vast universe, or even in the Chaos Ruins. "Bamboo Moon, you have to take care too. Everything will be fine as long as it goes smoothly." Su Yan looked at Bamboo Moon and felt a little empty in his heart. It was as if he had lost something important. Chapter 760. Take care. Su Yan looked at Bamboo Moon's back as she left. His desire to become stronger burned fiercely. He wanted to meet Bamboo Moon again and give her a surprise. "Kid, don't look anymore. She's already gone." Zhu Yuanqing's gloomy voice sounded in Su Yan's ears. "I wonder how you'll feel when you see Xiaoming? Bamboo Moon is still young, and it's inevitable that she'll let her emotions affect her decisions. Wait until she sees the cruelty of the universe and Xiaoming's strength and peerless demeanor. She'll definitely forget the unhappiness of the past and resume her wonderful life. As for you, you should look forward to surviving this calamity. As for the pearl of my race, you'll shine on the Chaos Ruins in the future. Forget all of this as soon as possible." This was Zhu Yuanqing's warning, but it also sounded like mockery. This old thing didn't forget to disgust me before he left. Su Yan cursed in his heart. He could still see Zhu Yuanqing's gloomy gaze. The Sky Bamboo lineage attached great importance to Xiaoming. He was a future almighty, perhaps even a pinnacle existence in the future universe. The Sky Bamboo lineage wanted Xiaoming to become their son-in-law. After all, the future of the world was still in the hands of these young people. He Xingjie and the others looked at Su Yan with pity. After offending Xiaoming, they couldn't imagine how miserable Su Yan would be in the future. As long as Xiaoming gave the order, Su Yan would have a hard time surviving in the Chaos Ruins. Xiaoming's prestige in the universe wasn't strong enough, but in the Chaos Ruins, he was one of the top young tycoons. Even heavenly supremes like East Demon had to bow when they saw him, let alone Su Yan. The Milky Way seemed to be a little quiet. Su Dalong and the others even keenly felt that because of Xiaoming's withdrawal, the cosmic pressure on the Milky Way had lessened significantly. It seemed like Chiu Ming valued the inheritance stone that Su Yan held very much. I said, "It's time to go," Iron Rooster urged. "The Universal Bridge has sensed that many terrifying bosses are heading towards the Milky Way. They are almost here. If we don't leave this time, it will be almost impossible for us to leave again." Regardless of whether the Milky Way galaxy could withstand it or not, this place would become a danger zone. The starry sky road to the universe would be cut off, and they would completely lose contact with the universe. The Little Lion King and the others were not worried. They needed various inheritances to temper themselves, and the progenitor was their best choice for cultivation. They did not want to leave in the short term. How could the strongest training ground be just for decoration? But Su Yan had to leave. He didn't know whether Baokai was dead or alive. He knew that his power was limited, but he still wanted to do something. "Su Yan, hurry up and leave." The Blood Lion Divine King walked over and said, "Leave this place immediately. If you don't leave now, it will be troublesome if you want to leave in the future. Use the Universal Bridge to leave. There shouldn't be too big a storm on the way. Let's go, child. Go find your path to invincibility. Don't hesitate anymore." Su Delong swung his sleeves and threw out a space ring to Su Yan. There were many rare treasures in it. It was a shocking amount of wealth, and it would be of great help to Su Yan. Many of the materials were obtained from the ancestral palace resource lands. They were so valuable that they could support a large-scale auction. He Xingjie sneered in his heart. With Su Yan's troubles, he would definitely not be able to compete in the Chaos Ruins in the future. Any expert from the Burial Realm would definitely be viewed as an enemy by Chiu Ming. Time to go. Su Yan's eyes scanned Tensor, Yuan, Bamboo Moon, Yun, Fatty, and the others. He had only returned to his hometown for a few years. He didn't expect to leave in such a state. Su Yan was very reluctant, but the situation waited for no one. The Universal Bridge detected that those people were getting closer and closer to the Milky Way. If he didn't leave now, he wouldn't be able to. Su Yan slowly clenched his fists. He took a deep breath and said in his heart, "I won't let you down." He saw a lot of hope in the eyes of Su Delong and the others. He couldn't help but feel emotional. At this moment, he understood that among the experts of the Burial Realm, he was like the hope of the clan's future. He felt that the courage on his shoulders was very heavy, and he was a little breathless. "My clan needs me. I can't let them down. My path has just begun. There will be a lot more in the future. I must return home alive." Su Yan muttered in his heart. After a series of great battles, and even after experiencing the calamity of the tribe this time, he had a deep understanding of the importance of strong people to a tribe. If anyone was missing, they could not lose a pillar of support. If the old leader hadn't stood up for this calamity, Earth would have been in danger. The entire clan might have fallen into eternal damnation. Su Yan carried the hopes of many people on his shoulders. Just like that, he began his journey. "Brother, you must come back soon." Su Bingshuang's voice was a little choked. Her big eyes were red and she was in low spirits. Looking at Su Yan's back, she wanted to fight side by side with him. However, she knew that if she went with Su Yan, she would definitely be a burden to him. War God Su Yan, take care. Xia Zhe and the others were also a little sad. However, there was a terrifying force behind them that pushed them forward. That was the path forward, the force to charge forward. That was the desire for the heart of an expert born in the calamity. "I'm leaving now." Su Yan was already standing on the cosmic bridge. He had chosen to go on the journey alone. He didn't want anyone to follow him, fearing that there would be accidents and dangers along the way. "You guys take care." Su Yan turned his head. The cosmic bridge suddenly roared and woke up. This secret treasure could cross hundreds of star fields. At its peak, it could even cross through some danger zones and life-forbidden zones. "Let's hope everything goes smoothly." Su Delong and the others smiled. I really hope that little Miss Muddle will appear in the future and become a top expert in the universe, looking down on everyone. Ha ha ha, the strongest rising star of our clan will definitely be able to do it. The Blood Lion Divine King and the others laughed. They kept staring at the cosmic bridge until it disappeared into the horizon. Only then did they retract their gazes. Their eyes were full of terrifying battle intent. The calamity was coming, and they couldn't be careless. There were many life and death battles waiting for them in the future. The Milky Way in Su Yan's eyes quickly disappeared. He had already crossed into the universe. Su Yan didn't know the next destination. In short, he was far away from here. He could already feel many eyes on the cosmic bridge. There were definitely enemies among them. Someone is making a move. Su Yan's pupils constricted. Vaguely, a terrifying fluctuation was being released. Very soon, the world rumbled. The heavens shook and the earth trembled. The sun and moon lost their light. Many stars exploded. It was as though a large blood-colored hand had stretched out from hell. It was burning fiercely and pierced through the starry river. It began to suppress the cosmic bridge and cut off the escape route from the Milky Way. They felt that the identity and status of the people who were leaving now was no small matter. There were 3 hidden experts making a move. Su Yan, who was standing on the cosmic bridge, could clearly feel that the bridge was swaying and was on the verge of collapse. However, the cosmic bridge was fast enough. It pierced through the vast starry sky and extended itself across the long river of time and space. It broke away from those hands at an extremely fast speed. Su Yan heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there was the cosmic bridge. Otherwise, leaving would have been a huge problem. Now, this path had been sealed. Even the Divine King couldn't kill his way out. Damn, someone is indeed making a move in secret. The miser cursed. Fortunately, this is the cosmic bridge. Even the supreme experts can't break it in a short period of time. It's just that the speed of the cosmic bridge is enough to cross the vast starry sky in the time it takes to be attacked by the supreme experts. Boom! Just as Su Yan thought he had safely retreated, his expression changed. The universe that the cosmic bridge was crossing trembled and became blurry. This was a heaven-defying power suppressing this part of the universe. The attacker was too terrifying. Su Yan could vaguely see at the end of the primal chaos, a pair of eyes comparable to ancient stars suddenly opened. As it opened and closed, the entire universe flickered. Even the sun was trembling. This was too frightening. How is this possible? The miser was shocked. He had also seen some scenes through the cosmic bridge. What was that? A pair of eyes comparable to ancient stars in the universe. This was too frightening. What kind of great existence was this? He stretched out a palm. It was boundless and vast. Millions of layers of primal chaos lingered around it and suppressed the entire universe. Su Yan was really surprised. He was about to be finished. Even the cosmic bridge was suppressed. What kind of expert is this? He's even more terrifying than a supreme expert. Su Yan's heart trembled. The palm that stretched out was filled with an aura that could destroy the universe. There was even a bit of primal chaos that was dispersing. Su Yan had seen through this terrifying palm. It was actually somewhat rotten, and some of its flesh had even rotted away. This was a palm that was about to decay, but it was filled with an indescribable power. It was hard to imagine how long this expert had lived. Now, he had erupted with a terrifying killing move that suppressed this part of the universe. In that brief moment of light, countless people had died. The vast starry sky was shattered in the darkness. The number of people who had died was incalculable. Many experts who were in seclusion didn't even have time to struggle before they were turned to dust. What's that? In a distant place, some deity realm experts were trembling and kneeling on the ground. A hand that seems to have stretched out from the end of the universe. They all saw the cosmic hand that had stretched out from an unknown place. It could easily crush the starry sky. The sun, moon, and stars were as insignificant as dust. Even the cosmic bridge was enveloped in its palm. This part of the universe had directly died and become a dead universe. Brat, I'll be killed because of you. There's only one path now. Give up the cosmic bridge and run away with the cosmic clock. You can only hope that the cosmic clock is tough enough to withstand his palm and not be destroyed. The miser was about to cry. This person was too strong. Even the cosmic bridge was forcefully suppressed. This rotten palm was truly heaven-defying. Who would have thought that such a terrifying existence would hunt them down? A familiar aura. In the endless darkness, Su Yen saw a pair of furious eyes. They were even more resplendent than the heavenly blade and overflowed into the sky. It was like the light of the heavens that flew out from hell. It tore apart the vast darkness and caused the starry sky to sink. That pair of eyes could really tear apart the heavens. It's him. Su Yan's blood was boiling. He saw a shadow, a youth, a lone wolf drifting in the universe. He had wandered the universe for an unknown number of years. His figure was lonely and desolate. Chapter 761. The light that reached the heavens was awakened. It surged out from the edge of the universe and pierced through the vast river of time and space. It was resplendent and connected to the heavens. That was a beam of light that swept through hundreds and thousands of star domains in a short period of time. It was so hot that the people of the world were shattered. That was only a beam of light, but it had blinded the heavenly eyes of countless experts who were watching the source. Ah! The divine king felt great fear. He trembled as he looked over. It was as though he had seen a boundlessly terrifying demon king open his huge eyes. When he opened and closed them, the heavens were about to explode. This kind of peerless divine might made the divine king's hair stand on end. He was terrified and uneasy. Even the vast aura of time was contained within. It was boundlessly powerful and terrifying. His eyes were too blazing and brilliant. When he opened them, the universe would flicker between light and darkness. This person was like a celestial emperor who couldn't be looked at. His divine might was matchless, and those who forcefully looked at him felt as though their souls were being torn apart. Even the divine king couldn't withstand it. His heavenly eyes were bleeding, and he was terrified to the extreme. Were almighties this strong? What kind of existence was this? After all, they had almost vanished into thin air with a single glance. The boundless universe rose and fell. One star domain after another sank into silence as powerful forces filled the starry splendor. The strongest experts of these star domains let out terrified cries. They let out muffled roars and waves of terrifying auras. Billions of beings were terrified. What on earth had happened in the universe? What kind of light was it that had alarmed these star domain lords? It's him. Su Yan's emotions surged. The reason he could see the specific appearance of the young slave was because he had seen the young slave wandering through the universe through the power of the cosmic bridge. He was even much younger than before. This was a bit ridiculous. Could it be that he had grasped reincarnation? But when he truly erupted and awakened, what was tyranny and what was terror? The entire world had lost its luster. Only he existed eternally and dominated the world. The universe was wailing under his feet. He was like a supreme demon king who had descended from beyond the heavens and trampled on the entire universe. His disheveled black hair danced in the wind, and his pupils were even more frightening than the heavenly blades. He let out a loud roar that reverberated through the sea of stars and engulfed the great regions. It was boundlessly terrifying. Heavens, what kind of demon king is this? The miser was so scared that his feathers fell to the ground. He screamed, "Kid, do you know him? Invite him over and destroy the ancestral hall and the dark nether race." Su Yen bitterly smiled. Wanting to invite this person was easier said than done. Su Yen didn't even know this person's name, let alone communicate with him. However, Su Yen felt that this person had some sort of relationship with the Buried Realms clan. That loud roar was transmitted here, causing the decaying hand that was holding the cosmic bridge to tremble slightly. Obviously, it was shocked by the young slave who let out that roar. It was only a short pause, but it felt like a long time had passed. The rotting of the giant hand became even more severe, as if there were terrifying laws and orders strangling him, causing his giant hand to rot even more severely. The entire body was about to rot, turning into pus and blood. It was as if this kind of person was too strong and could not casually appear in the world. They were governed by a kind of law and order of the world, and such existences were not allowed to casually appear and move about. Look, the demon lord is moving. What is he trying to do? Did the old monster who attacked alert the devil lord? Tai Rooster and Su Yen were overwhelmed with emotions. Through the cosmic bridge they saw some blurry scenes. That young slave had disappeared, and when he reappeared, he had forcefully crossed the vast starry skies, arriving at the other end of the universe. That was the boundless primal chaos, rich to the extreme. However, under the cosmic bridge, the boundless primal chaos was like a terrifying great demonic abyss, filled with an indescribable and mysterious aura. And this young slave had crossed over to this place. His existence caused the primal chaos to collapse, the sun and moon to wail, and the entire world to tremble. He had gone to the primal chaos ruins, crossed over to this place, and found the source of the decaying hand. Under Su Yen and Tai Rooster's gazes, he erupted, roaring continuously, shattering the primal chaos and causing the great stars of the universe to fall. An indescribable might awakened, blooming. The experts from the Forbidden Lands who were fighting with the old leader were all shocked. They couldn't see the destination, but they could feel that something big was happening in the universe. An unimaginable existence was making a move, piercing through the primal chaos. Boom! The vast primal chaos zone violently undulated, and then it was torn apart by a pair of large hands. That large crack cut through the primal chaos, as if tearing apart two universes. Su Yen didn't doubt that his arms could tear apart the universe. It was hard to believe that someone could control such power. At this moment, the decaying hand had long since returned. It was obvious that this was the hiding place of his main body, wrapped in the endless primal chaos. He was hiding in the primal chaos. But when the primal chaos was torn apart, revealing a vast and riddled territory, the imprint on Su Yan's forehead burned resplendently, emitting a resplendent divine light. The immortal star Great Land. Su Yan felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His heart was filled with shock. This was a very familiar aura. It was the aura of the immortal planet. It was captured by the mark between his eyebrows. The mark between Su Yan's eyebrows seemed to want to fly out and merge with the broken immortal planet. The immortal star Great Land really existed, and it was in the universe, even in the primal chaos ruins. This result was too surprising for Su Yan. The immortal star Great Land was still lying in the primal chaos ruins. Su Yen seemed to have spied on a great secret in the universe. It turned out that everything was so simple. It turned out that in ancient times, the primal chaos ruins were the core of the universe, and the primal chaos ruins were the immortal star Great Land? He didn't know what had happened, but the immortal star Great Land had become the primal chaos ruins now, and it was covered in primal chaos all year round. No wonder the primal chaos ruins are the origin of the demonic fog. So that's it. Su Yen understood this secret, and he was even more shocked. He had been to the immortal star Great Land, and even cultivated for hundreds of years. He had been under the tutelage of various Tao masters, and cultivated their Tao and skills. Now he saw the immortal star Great Land today. Although it was a broken corner, it was still magnificent and spectacular enough. Su Yen couldn't help but laugh. If he returned to the immortal star Great Land one day, he should be able to make up for the defects in his constitution. After all, He had once found a way to perfect his constitution in the 5th trial ground. It was a pity that Su Yen could only get the inheritance back then, but he couldn't get a single blade of grass or tree from the immortal Stargreat Land. After all, they were separated by time and space, separated by time, separated by the past and the future that even powerful people couldn't explain clearly. Ah! That terrifying sound exploded, transmitted from the ancient primal chaos ruins. It was like a collision between billions of universes, and all kinds of unimaginable airflow were gushing out. There was definitely an unimaginable battle that had broken out there, and even the powerful people were horrified. Although they didn't know where it was, they knew the general direction. It was the primal chaos ruins. Something big had broken out in the primal chaos ruins, and even the universe bridge couldn't see clearly. The distance was too far, and the expedition was too cruel. However, the universe bridge could capture the aura of the young slave. The more he fought, the more courageous he became. He was like a supreme war immortal who had blasted through the 9 heavens and 10 earths, releasing his world-burning fury, and launched a thunderous attack on the old monster hidden in the primal chaos. There was no doubt that the old monster hidden in the primal chaos had rashly attacked and attracted the young slave's attention. Otherwise, the young slave wouldn't have attacked. Perhaps he was still drifting in the cosmos, searching for his lost self. Su Yen really didn't know the reason behind this. How did he change? Is it because he lost too much and is growing old? The universe bridge was extremely useful, and it captured even more battle scenes. Su Yen could vaguely see that the young slave was growing old in battle, but his aura was growing stronger. It was as if he was turning into an ancient peerless powerhouse, and from that day onwards, this person would erupt with his greatest battle strength. Can we go over? Su Yen was silent for a moment before he spoke. He wanted to try and invite this young powerhouse to help the Zong realm race out of their current predicament. Let's give it a try. It's worth the risk. If we can invite this esteemed god, then wouldn't that be amazing? Iron Rooster smacked his lips and said, I just don't know if this kind of character will pay attention to us. In any case, we have the universe bridge. Moreover, I feel that this battle might alarm the experts who are targeting the Zong realm race. Su Yen also felt that this was possible. After all, the person who attacked just now was targeting him. Let's rush over and use the universe bridge to rush to our destination. They will definitely think that we are related to that mysterious expert. Su Yen immediately said, Quick, I think we can invite this esteemed god and let him suppress the various powers of the ancestral hall. We don't need to ask him to take action. We just need him to take a stroll on Earth. Buzz. The universe bridge recovered once again, and the golden bridge rapidly enlarged. Iron Rooster had caused a great commotion, allowing the golden bridge to penetrate through the vast region. Moreover, it surged with all kinds of terrifying radiance, attracting the attention of many big shots. A powerful expert caught sight of it, and his expression was uncertain. Previously, they had seen the rotting giant hand targeting Su Yen, and then this mysterious expert was lured out. Now, the universe bridge was heading towards the primal chaos ruins. Did this mean that the Zong realm race had an unfathomable relationship with this mysterious expert? No matter what they thought, the ancestor of the ancestral hall had withdrawn in an instant. This caused some of the experts spying on the progenitor to turn gloomy. It was very likely that this caused the experts spying on the Milky Way galaxy to feel apprehensive. They were really afraid of provoking a living fossil that they shouldn't have. However, just as the universe bridge began to glance towards the primal chaos ruins, a terrifying power suppressed the world. It was hidden in the void, but it still released terrifying fluctuations. It was like the power of millions of layers of the universe, burning with boundless light of order as it rushed towards the universe bridge. Damn, it's this wolf cub who secretly attacked and wants to slaughter us. Iron Rooster almost exploded in anger. Outsiders couldn't see it, but they could see it clearly. Although the Zong Realm painting scroll had concealed its true form, the Universe Bridge could still see its true form. It was the nemesis of the Universe Bridge. Under the sudden attack of the Zong Realm painting scroll, Su Yen roared in anger. He really didn't expect that Xiaoming would kill him. This bastard was really careful. He wouldn't let any threat exist and would wipe them out in advance. Rumble! This starfield was destroyed. The collision was too intense. After all, Iron Rooster couldn't unleash the power of the Universe Bridge. Even the Universe Clock could only be used for defense. This part of the starry sky was constantly sinking and exploding. The Zong Realm painting scroll launched the cruelest attack. It directly broke through the existing defenses of the Universe Bridge and attacked the Universe Clock. Chapter 762. Who dares to attack the Cosmic Bridge? Isn't he afraid of angering the Tao Temple? The destroyed starry sky was filled with all kinds of energy ripples, bursting with resplendent light. The experts in the distance discussed animatedly. They had just crossed the Tao Temple's cosmic bridge, but now a mysterious treasure had awakened and was attacking the cosmic bridge. Although they couldn't see the scene of the collision between the treasures, their hearts trembled. The Tao Temple held a sacred position in the universe, and in the chaos ruins, it was the Yingjia that had gathered heaven and earth for generations. The foundation of this power was immeasurable, but a hidden expert had awakened a mysterious supreme treasure and destroyed the cosmic bridge. Even the cosmic clock had started to cave in. They were shocked. Why were the cosmic bridge and cosmic clock so weak? Boom! The cosmic clock emitted bloody light and was stained with blood. It collided fiercely with the domain's shaking painting. The starry sky, which was riddled with holes, exploded completely. Everything was fragmented, overturning the vast sea of stars and sweeping up the universe's stars. They couldn't see the outcome. After all, the domain shaking painting's power was terrifying. It suppressed the shattered starry sky, and even the Divine King couldn't see the scene inside. In short, the moment the domain shaking painting was withdrawn, the starry sky was annihilated uncontrollably. Many people were stunned and some were suspicious. Why were the cosmic bridge and cosmic clock so weak? And how could Vice President Jin Yu be made of paper? Even without the cosmic bridge, killing him with a supreme treasure was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Now, the experts in the outer regions didn't know that Vice President Jin Yu was a miser in disguise. No matter what, the chaos that happened here was nothing more than a wave for the current vast universe, for the peak clans, and for the big shots who had come out of the chaos ruins one after another. In the vast starfield, the various peak cultivation worlds fell into a dead silence at the same time. The universe seemed to have lost all life and fell into silence. But in this vast universe, earth-shattering noises were transmitted one after another. These noises came from very far away, and only the strong could perceive them. They were transmitted from the chaos ruins. Loud noises exploded, shaking the long river of time and space. Every sound was accompanied by a terrifying aura of time. It was as if an invincible giant in the long river of time was making a tyrannical move. Those were the sounds of battle. No one could imagine what kind of battlefield was being born. It was as if the sea of chaos had exploded, as if a supreme demon lord had pierced through the universe. In short, sounds came from the chaos ruins one after another, making billions of creatures uneasy. They couldn't breathe and could only tremble on the ground. This wasn't shameful at all, because even the Divine Kings lost control and became incredibly flustered. The power that emanated from the chaos ruins was too frightening. It was like an emperor that suppressed the universe, punching out at the star domains. Punch after punch, it was as if he had pierced through one star domain after another. If this battle were to take place in the universe, who knew how many star fields would be destroyed and how many creatures would be buried along with it? Sharp sounds appeared as well. An extremely intense battle erupted from within, and it was as if two universes that existed in the past, present, and future were colliding. Murderous aura filled the air as it swept through the region and surged within the boundless primal chaos. This was a peerless punitive expedition. Even the Almighty lost their color. They felt as if their chaos ruins had been pierced through. What a terrifying scene! What kind of experts are contending for hegemony? Are two great life-forbidden zones fighting? The Divine King looked at the source and saw the boundless chaos ruins covered by the thick smell of blood. It surged and rippled, covering large regions. This kind of punitive expedition was unimaginable. It was a battle between demon lords. The impact was too great. Even the Milky Way galaxy's punitive expedition had stopped. The Almighty wouldn't act blindly without thinking. They would wait for the matter to be investigated thoroughly before taking action. Heaven and earth groaned. Gods wept and ghosts wept. The heavenly phenomena were heaven-defying. The incident in the chaos ruins caused the vast cultivation world to tremble. This kind of battle lasted for an entire day before calming down, but in the direction of the chaos ruins, various kinds of world-burning fluctuations had been emitted. It would take a long time for them to disperse. The battle inside must have ended. Let's go and take a look. Following which, one after another, bold and skillful experts entered the primal chaos to investigate. The universe was quiet. What happened here had alarmed all the major races. Everyone wanted to know the truth as soon as possible. However, when a large number of experts entered the chaos ruins, they saw the scene of large regions exploding. This was the chaos ruins. The size of a large region wasn't inferior to a star region in the universe. How is this possible? The Divine King was so frightened that he couldn't stand still. He trembled in the destroyed world. Moreover, he felt a chill on his back. He felt as if some creature was staring at them. Many experts didn't dare to investigate further. The source was a life-forbidden zone. Even the Almighty wouldn't trespass. The vast chaotic ruins had a desolate and ancient aura, but when one looked along this fragmented path of chaos, the source was suffused with boundless gloom and terror. It was an absolutely terrifying place of death, and it pressed down upon one to the point of suffocation and trembling. The experts didn't dare to go in, but there were still people who wanted to know the truth. On this day, the Sky Bamboo lineage, the Han family, the Tao Church, and a few other hegemonic powers sent experts to investigate. They suspected that the two great lands of extremists were fighting to the death, and that was the reason for the chaos. The chaos ruins were too big. There were also many life-forbidden zones lying across the various danger zones. Some of the Overlord factions didn't dare to trespass. However, if a life-forbidden zone had really been breached, it was worth investigating. Perhaps they could reap great benefits. However, this day wasn't peaceful. The area they went to investigate stretched for tens of thousands of miles. There were ruins and large cracks everywhere. There were still remnants of world-destroying fluctuations in various parts of the world. Leave quickly. Don't come back. That mournful voice suddenly reverberated. It made the experts who were approaching the source tremble in fear. They heard miserable cries coming in waves. It was definitely a group of important people who had fallen. These people had gone ahead to investigate and ended up dying on the way. A powerful expert had made it out alive. However, his entire body was rotting and unrecognizable. Rotten flesh and blood constantly fell from his body. He let out a low roar, clearly in pain and despair. The scene made people tremble. Even the heavenly gods were scared out of their wit. Even a powerful expert couldn't withstand it. This undoubtedly proved that some life-forbidden zones really couldn't be trespassed. The Sky Bamboo lineage wept. This was because their race's powerful expert had returned with heavy injuries. Even he was about to die. The Tao Church and other factions gathered at the Sky Bamboo lineage. They wanted to get to the bottom of this matter. Since the powerful expert had made it out alive, he must have seen some of the truth. They wanted to know what kind of existence was fighting. terrifying creatures that live in prehistory. We can't investigate too deeply. Otherwise, it'll bring about a great disaster. The Sky Bamboo lineage's powerful expert didn't reply after that. The Tao Church sucked in a breath of cold air. They wanted to get to the bottom of this matter because it involved the universe's greatest mystery. I suspect it's related to the burial region. That person left it behind. Some of the old antiques of the Overlord factions sat together to discuss. Their words were solemn. They felt that the universe was about to fall into chaos. Since such a creature had revealed some clues, it meant that this was only the beginning. Perhaps it wasn't even the beginning. This was a big problem. Fortunately, they had stopped fighting. If the war had continued, many resource lands of the Overlord factions would have been affected. Time passed day by day. The Chaos Ruins had become a complete mystery. No one wanted to talk about it, and no news was leaked. What happened? Some of the Peak factions stared helplessly. However, they didn't dare to go too deep. After all, a powerful expert from the Sky Bamboo lineage had died not long after his return. This matter was serious and involved a life-forbidden zone. The universe was quiet. The Chaos Ruins change was vast and mighty. It pressured the various factions into keeping a low profile. Even the Milky Way galaxy's conquests were temporarily halted. The universe was vast, the world was vast, and the star regions were vast. The cultivation world, especially the peak cultivation world, was filled with experts. The universe was also divided into 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. The East Devil, West Buddha, South Sovereign, and North Demon were called so because they came from the 4 directions of the cultivation world. Something big happened in the South Universe. The ancestral hall at the center of the universe was attacked. It suffered heavy losses. I've heard that the South Universe is in chaos. This matter is so big that it even spread to our blood realm. The impact of this matter is too great. This was a very special life star region. To be precise, this life star region was like a body of ancient life stars. It was like a vast and majestic world. It was blood red, and even the sky was crimson. The entire world was filled with blood and fire. This was the Blood Realm, one of the top 10 star regions. There were even peak factions overseeing the Blood Realm. However, the Blood Realm had been in chaos for a long time. There were many battlefields, and there was still no end to them. The Blood Realm wasn't one of the top 10 star regions. It was only after the Big Dipper sank that the Blood Realm overtook it. However, the Blood Realm was the weakest of the top 10 star regions. Even the peak factions of the Blood Realm couldn't control the entire Blood Realm. First, this place had been in chaos for countless years. It was recognized as a battlefield. Second, this place was very close to the Chaos Ruins. Often, experts from the Chaos Ruins would come to the Blood Realm. Third, the Blood Realm had countless forces. It was a paradise for adventurers. The entire Blood Realm was covered by a vast battlefield. Large and small battlefields were laid out across the Blood Realm. There were many caves where blood light rose, revealing a fierce aura. There were also people who sold and smuggled corpses in the Blood Realm. In this star region, death was a very normal thing. There were very few places with light. Everywhere was a dark world, filled with cruelty and savagery. I'm still alive. Su Yen had been sleeping for more than half a month. When the thing that had suffocated him was moved away, Su Yen took a deep breath. He climbed up from the pile of corpses. His entire body was covered in blood and filth. His face was unrecognizable. Su Yen didn't know how he had survived. He was bewildered when he realized that he had climbed out of the big pile of corpses. Su Yen didn't know how long he had slept while hugging the corpses. Hey! Hey! Su Yen was dizzy. His mind wasn't clear. A shrill voice came to his ears. Su Yen tried to open his eyes. Through his hazy vision, he saw a young girl in luxurious clothes talking to him fiercely. Su Yen couldn't hear clearly. He was so tired that he was about to fall asleep again. "Can you hear me?" Do you know that I'm the one who saved you? This little girl was only 17 or 18 years old. She had a delicate temperament and was used to ordering people around. She pointed at Su Yen and said unhappily, "Look at your silly look. It is said that those who survive from piles of corpses are lucky. I don't think you are worth cultivating." Su Yen was too weak. His legs went soft, and he came face to face with the little princess. "You goddamn bastard!" the little princess screamed. Her delicate face had already become a big dirty cat. Her gorgeous dress was stained with blood. She had no time to dodge, and came into direct contact with Su Yen. The two of them looked like they had just been dug out from a pile of corpses. The group of older guards beside him were all staring at each other. Some of them didn't know how to react. The physical book of emperors only will start the lucky draw tomorrow. Everyone, follow the official WeChat account and follow Azure Skyleaf. The rules of the lucky draw have been announced. Chapter 763. The sun was setting in the west. The afterglow of the sun illuminated the territory like a poignant painting. This place was not bright, but filled with darkness and blood. At night, the moon turned dark red, exuding an oppressive aura. Very few people went out at night in the Blood Realm because the world was even more chaotic at night. There was darkness and blood everywhere, a feast of slaughter. If there was a place where the universe was in chaos, it would definitely be the Blood Realm. This world seemed to be bleeding, and the soil was dyed dark red. Blood flowed through the ages. God knew how many people had died and how many Ingjia had been buried here. But over the years, there were still countless people that rushed to the blood region. Wasn't it because this was a peak region of cultivation that was filled with fortune and fortuitous encounters? If one was able to survive here for over 100 years, then one could basically accumulate endless wealth and glory. On the cliff, Su Yen sat cross-legged on the mountain peak and looked at the pile of corpses below. He had been sleeping here for half a month. Fortunately, he wasn't taken away by the corpse traffickers. Su Yen didn't remember what happened before. Qiuming attacked him and used the realm-shaking painting scroll. They were hiding in the universe clock. Su Yen had fainted from the shock. When he woke up, it was already now. The miser's whereabouts were unknown. Su Yen wanted to leave immediately and go to the universe to find out the current situation of the Milky Way galaxy and the Chaos ruins. After all, half a month had passed, and he felt a sense of urgency in his heart. But the problem was that his injuries were too severe, and it would be difficult for him to recover his combat strength in a short time. Now, Su Yen was smiling bitterly and was sitting here being scolded. He was facing a young lady in a blue dress. She was young and beautiful and didn't fit in with the atmosphere of the world. But her cherry mouth was really talkative. She had been talking about Su Yen for several hours. Why didn't she feel tired? Her group of older guards were helpless. Those who were familiar with her knew that if they offended her, they wouldn't be able to have a peaceful time. Hey, I've said so much. Why aren't you talking? Su Yen was tired from listening, but she didn't look tired at all. Instead, she was full of energy. With her hands behind her back, she looked like a little adult. She pouted and said discontentedly, "How boring. Are you deaf? Isn't it said that those who can survive in a pile of corpses are brave warriors?" Little princess, I think we should search for the next target. We can definitely find a stronger champion. She was followed by 8 great guards, and Su Yen keenly felt that the auras of these 8 great guards were extremely powerful, like dormant fierce dragons, which made Su Yen very surprised. This little princess had a great background, and the weakest of the 8 old experts by her side was also in the divine realm. The 8 great guards must have looked down on Su Yen and felt that he wasn't much. He was honest and didn't look like an expert at first glance. They reckoned that he must have used tricks to survive in the battlefield. Only then did Su Yen understand that a large-scale battle had broken out in the area he was in some time ago. Over 100 forces had fought together to seize the resource lands. The battle had lasted for 10 days and 10 nights. Therefore, they thought that Su Yan was a member of this force. Generally speaking, those who could survive from this kind of battlefield were all experienced veterans. The first champion we met, it can be considered a little fate. Luo Huaqing cast a sidelong glance at Su Yan. The more he didn't speak, the more interested Luo Huaqing was in Su Yan. He wanted to pry open his mouth and find out some of his little secret. Facing the young lady's crafty eyes, Su Yan was really a little worried. He really wanted to say, "You guys should leave quickly. I really want to be alone for a while." "Little princess, what does this have to do with fate?" The 8 elders glared at each other. One of them, who was very prestigious, stood out. He looked bold and powerful. Luo Enyang directly said, "You can't be careless when choosing a champion. Once you lose to the other princesses' champions, you will lose face. You can't be careless." Hearing this, Luo Huaqing was instantly unhappy. She snorted and said, "If I didn't debut a few years later, how could I lose to them? This won't do. I must find a powerful champion and teach them a lesson. If they lose, I will make them marry my champion." Luo Enyang and the others held back and didn't dare to laugh out loud. They were worried that Luo Huaqing would deal with them and make the great Luo Empire's princess marry her champion. If this spread out, the great Luo Empire might become a laughingstock. Cough, cough. Su Yan coughed violently and spurted out blood. He looked like a person who was about to die. "Let's go, little princess. This kid looks like a soft-footed shrimp. He can't even stand and is still coughing up blood?" Luo Enyang shook his head. They were also here to try their luck and see if they could help the little princess recruit a group of powerful murderous weapons. After all, those who could charge and break through the enemy lines in the blood domain were risking their lives every day. Their combat strength would be much higher than ordinary cultivators. Luo Huaqing cast a sidelong glance at Su Yan. She felt that this guy was pretending. "Kid." Luo Huaqing's big eyes narrowed into a slit. She moved her little head over and whispered a few words in Su Yan's ear. Su Yan got up with goosebumps. He was simply being stared at by a little devil. However, he didn't have the strength to resist the upcoming torture. He could only curse in his heart. He patted his chest and promised, "Of course, I want to repay the favor of saving my life. If the princess has any orders, just let me know." Luo Enyang and the others were shocked. Was this guy a corpse? Why did he suddenly become spirited? "Not bad, not bad. You will be my #1 champion in the future." Luo Huaqing revealed a victorious smile. She laughed so hard that she swayed back and forth. She was very proud. Her laughter was like a silver bell that echoed in this cold world. "Princess, you can't." Luo Anyong's expression changed. They didn't know Su Yan's background, and they didn't know his strength. If they rashly recruited him, he might be a dangerous person. "You bunch of old things, can't you calm down in the face of trouble?" Luo Huaqing glared. She then pointed at Su Yan and said proudly, "I will correct you. You are a battle servant. When you have made contributions, I will promote you to a champion. In the future, you will follow this princess and make contributions. When I am in a good mood, I will let you go home. It will be enough for you to open up a territory in the blood domain and become a king." Luo Enyang and the others were speechless. Make contributions? It was already good enough that they could survive. Heroes don't ask for a way out. Luo Huaqing was full of arrogance. She had the demeanor of a peerless expert. She said, "I will name you Luo Daong." Luo Enyang almost jumped. His face was red and his beard was blowing. He was called Luo Enyang, but now Luo Huaqing had named Su Yan Luo Daong. What was this, Daong? I will give you money and you will work for me. This is a good deal, right? Luo Huaqing said seriously. No. Su Yan shook his head and said righteously, "It is my fortune to be able to serve your highness. If your highness needs anything, just tell me. I, Luo Daong, will not hesitate to go through fire and water." Good, good. Luo Huaqing was beaming with joy. She was satisfied with Su Yan and felt that her first champion would not be too bad. Sigh, honest words are unpleasant to the ear. Luo Anyong's face was full of annoyance. She wanted to slap Su Yan a few times. That. Su Yan quickly went over and asked, "Your Highness, how much money can you give me?" This sentence made the group's face turn green. Didn't they say to go through fire and water? How could they talk about the price now? Seeing that Luo Huaqing's pretty face had also darkened, Su Yan felt that he had lost face. He hurriedly said, "Your Highness, my injuries are too serious. I need a certain amount of resources to recover before I can serve the princess." "It's not a big deal." Luo Huaqing's expression softened. She waved her hand and ordered, "Give me the medicine." Although the 8 bodyguards were unhappy, they did not dare to disobey Luo Huaqing's order. They took out some healing items on the spot. When they saw some medicine, they muttered in their hearts. The quality of the medicine was very high. He guessed that it was the most inferior thing they had brought. This group of people's origins were not simple. Su Yan did not ask and ate it directly. Su Yan sat cross-legged on the ground and pretended to recuperate. They did not move out during the night. Instead, they stayed here. Su Yan pricked up his ears and listened to their conversation. Only then did he know that he had arrived at the Blood Realm. Blood Realm, I never thought that I would come here. It sounded very familiar. He thought carefully and finally remembered that when he talked to Wu Heng, their Wu family was established in the Blood Realm. This was a very special star field. According to Wu Heng's understanding, this star field was actually an incomplete universe in the Chaos Ruins. It drifted into the universe and formed a unique world called the Blood Realm. That was why it was in turmoil all year round. Of course, this theory was relatively old. Some people said that the Blood Realm was moved here from the Chaos Ruins by some supreme being. No matter how many theories there were, it was recognized by the cultivation world that the Blood Realm originated from the Chaos Ruins. This was because the layout of this world was very similar to the Chaos Ruins. When Su Yan heard them talk about the Southern Universe, he was startled. This place was very far from the Milky Way galaxy. It would take a month to travel through a transmission array, and that was at an extremely fast speed. The news was blocked, but Luo Huaqing and the others had great origins and knew a lot of inside information. After learning that the Milky Way galaxy had stopped all wars, Su Yan temporarily calmed his mind. Bang! There was a loud explosion. Su Yan reflexively stood up and looked into the distance. At the end of the horizon, earth and rocks soared into the sky. War cries filled the air. Many soldiers were charging towards their destination. What is that? Su Yan's eyes narrowed. He had thought that there was chaos, but now it seemed that wasn't the case. There were treasures ahead. A resplendent beam of light soared into the sky. It was like a stream of chaos, ancient chi, hazy and filled with an aura that could soar into the heavens. It alarmed countless adventurers and caused them to swarm over. Their eyes were red as they roared and charged madly. "Haha, little princess, look! It's Chaos Origin Chi." Luo Enyong laughed loudly. "Our luck is too good. We actually encountered a stream of Chaos Origin Chi here. It seems that the quality is quite high. This is a rare treasure." Even Su Yan was shocked. Their luck was really off the charts. Chaos Origin Chi was the essence of Chaos Origin Chi. This kind of special gas had astonishing miraculous effects on experts who were about to step into the deity realm. This was because Chaos Origin Chi could help Great Tao Realm experts gather the power of their divine bodies. Every stream of Chaos Origin Chi was a rare treasure. Usually, this thing could only be found in the Chaos Ruins. Even the peak races wouldn't be able to control a large amount of Chaos Origin Chi. Back then, Su Dalong and the others had massacred over 10 resource secret realms in the Ancestral Palace. They must have obtained a lot of Chaos Origin Chi. However, it was a pity that most of them were ordinary. Many Great Tao Realm experts wouldn't be able to buy more than a few of them even if they sold their entire fortune. If one wished to step into the deity realm, they had to use Chaos Origin Chi as a guide to evolve their physical body and energy to a terrifying state. Only then would they be able to step into the deity realm. Therefore, Chaos Origin Chi was too important to cultivators. The higher the quality, the stronger the effect. This was because to ascend to the deity realm, one had to evolve their divine bodies. That was an extremely terrifying evolution. Chapter 764. A bloody battle had already broken out ahead. The value of the primal chaos source chi was extremely high. To them, obtaining a strand of primal chaos source chi was equivalent to 10 years of income from adventuring. How could they not go crazy? This was especially so for some experts who could cross over from the Great Tao realm to the deity realm. They were really fighting with their lives on the line. This was their hope. Without this thing, it was extremely difficult to cultivate to the deity realm. Only with the help of the primal chaos source chi could they absorb the primal chaos source chi. This was the most important thing. The stronger the divine physique, the more primal chaos source chi they could absorb. This was a large-scale evolution, a change in energy and matter. If a Great Tao Realm expert obtained this strand of primal chaos source chi, their battle prowess would soar by many times. Their status and cultivation level would also be completely different. Kill! A great battle had already broken out. Blood surged, and the heads of many cultivators were chopped off in a single exchange. Great Tao Realm experts also suffered cruel deaths in this bloody battle. Many people wailed in grief, unwilling to accept this. However, who would sympathize with them? They wanted to defy the heavens for the sake of strength. Those who couldn't charge forward died. The sky was filled with blood, but this battle didn't continue for long. Luo Enyang and the others rushed over. Deity realm experts awakened one after another, their might causing the battlefield to tremble. Everyone was panicking. They really didn't expect to encounter deity realm experts in such a small place, and there was even more than one. They were in despair. They were really afraid that Luo Enyang and the others would attack, slaughter them, and rob them of their belongings. However, Luo Enyang and the others weren't crazy to such an extent. Of course, there were many such ruthless people in the Blood Region world. They directly took away the primal chaos source chi, ignoring the others. Damn it, they have already cultivated to the deity realm. What are they competing with us for? I've guarded this area for 3 years and only encountered one strand of primal chaos source chi. Why have so many experts suddenly appeared? This is really unreasonable. Many people wanted to cry but had no tears. They complained endlessly. After all, the probability of primal chaos source chi appearing was very low, and it was also very difficult to discover it. Even in the primal chaos ruins, it was impossible to obtain many strands of primal chaos source chi in 10 years. Moreover, the primal chaos ruins were more than 10 times more dangerous than here. The risks they had to bear were also very high. Soon, Luo Enyang and the others returned to the cliff. Seeing Su Yen, who was obediently recuperating here, they all nodded in satisfaction. Su Yen did not run away, which meant that he still wanted to stay by Luo Huaqing's side. That's primal chaos essence energy, Yang Qi said. I have more than 20 streams of it in my spatial treasure, given to me by Grandpa Dalong. That's a huge amount of wealth, enough to make the Divine King jealous. Su Yen stared at the air current that floated above Luo Deyong's palm. This air current was blurry and surged with terrifying divine Tao waves, containing an extremely exuberant essence. This thing had a fatal attraction to those at the Great Tao realm. Luo Huaqing only glanced at it and lost interest. It was not difficult for her to obtain primal chaos origin energy, or even higher grade ones. It can barely be considered a middle-grade weapon. Luo Deyong observed for a while and smiled. My luck is not bad, I can also sell it for a good price. It's not even a top-grade item. It's not worth mentioning. Luo Huaqing didn't take it seriously at all. Her words made Luo Enyong and the others speechless. Even Su Yan was somewhat speechless. Top-grade primal chaos origin energy? It was more than 10 times more powerful than what Luo Enyong had. Let alone Luo Huaqing, even Sun Dome and the others would find it extremely difficult to obtain such an item. This wasn't something that could be bought with wealth, but rather with great opportunities. Or rather, whether their tribes had such resources or not. To put it bluntly, even if a supreme being wanted to obtain a top-grade primal chaos origin energy, it would be extremely difficult. No tribe would take out top-grade primal chaos origin energy to sell for no reason, unless they paid a sufficiently large price. This was a rare item that was even rarer and rarer than the Saint-grade heaven and earth source plasma. It wasn't something that could be bought with money. Ordinarily, it was already very difficult to obtain a top-grade primal chaos origin energy. In an auction, it could be auctioned for a relatively ridiculous price. Is it that difficult? I can definitely obtain top-grade primal chaos origin energy. Some time ago, the legendary primal chaos origin energy appeared in the Blood Realm. If this rumor is true, I must fight for it. Luo Enyong and the others smiled bitterly. Primal chaos origin energy? That was a heavenly treasure, a rare supreme treasure that even supreme beings would covet. How many people in history could obtain it? Even if it really appeared, it would erupt into a struggle between the peak tribes. Even Sun Dome and the others would fight for it crazily. Even the supreme beings would scheme for it. The allure of that thing was too terrifying for them. Primal chaos origin energy. Su Yan took a while to react. He sucked in a breath of cold air, thinking that he had misheard. What was primal chaos origin energy? It was known as the source of primal chaos origin energy, and its value was unimaginable. This thing only existed in legends, and it was known as the strongest resource to step into the immortal realm. The strongest resource, enough to make supreme beings go crazy. If it really appeared, it would definitely set off a storm of blood in the cultivation world. But in the Blood Realm, could there really be primal chaos origin energy? Su Yan really didn't believe it. He had some understanding of this thing, and the number of people who had obtained it could be counted on one's fingers. According to the legends, as long as one could obtain it and gather the divine body, they would definitely become the king of the immortal realm. With the help of primal chaos origin energy, it was even more terrifying to become a heavenly god in the future. In short, this resource was too terrifying, and it was unimaginable for ordinary people. What's with your expressions? Don't tell me you think I can't obtain it. Luo Huaqing was very unhappy and slightly angry. Her snow-white skin glowed as if she had turned into a divine moon. Purple chi rose from her, and on her forehead, there was even a faintly discernible true dragon chi that quietly manifested. Luo Huaqing appeared extremely noble, like an imperial goddess. She had a kind of majesty that was completely caused by her surging aura. Su Yan's pupils shrank as he carefully sensed Luo Huaqing's aura. In the end, he confirmed that Luo Huaqing's origin was very great, and the heavenly art she cultivated was very terrifying. She gathered the power of the dragon veins of heaven and earth to form Imperial Dragon Force. This was a completely new cultivation chapter. Interesting. I'll settle down for the time being and investigate the whereabouts of primal chaos origin energy. Su Yan's mind became active. He felt that Luo Huaqing came to the Blood Realm for the primal chaos origin energy. After all, with her status, she didn't need to spend much effort to obtain primal chaos origin energy. If primal chaos origin energy really appeared, Su Yan would definitely make a move to seize it. This thing was enough to be called a great opportunity. With the help of primal chaos origin energy, entering the immortal realm would definitely open an even greater door of cultivation in the future. They temporarily settled down here and didn't move during the night. Su Yen had been recuperating all this time. His internal injuries were extremely serious. Fortunately, there were many rare healing saint items in the spatial treasure given to him by Su Dalong. He directly took them out to recuperate. After a month, Su Yan's internal injuries improved a little, and some blood essence evaporated in his body. This was also thanks to the various healing saint items. Otherwise, it would have taken a long time to recover some of his divine power. In these few days, Su Yen had been following them around the various regions of the Blood Realm. The Blood Realm was in chaos everywhere. This was a place where blood flowed, and those with weak cultivation would find it difficult to survive. Even immortal realm experts would face life and death dangers. This was a world where blood flowed and war was endless. However, along the way, Su Yen really did discover many treasures. After all, this blood realm was related to the Chaos Ruins. Some regions still had primal chaos chi drifting about, and there were some primal chaos treasures contained within. However, it was extremely difficult to mine. After all, the primal chaos matter was extremely powerful, and those at the Great Tao realm would definitely die if they entered. Even immortal realm experts would have to spend a lot of time opening up such mines. The Blood Realm contained all kinds of primal chaos origin energy, and even some precious medicines nurtured by primal chaos. Therefore, this Blood Realm was truly a super battlefield. Danger and opportunity accompanied it, and there were countless adventurers. Boom! An enormous sound exploded, spreading through the vast great region, shaking up the mountains and rivers. Many people were shocked, fleeing in panic. It was because they felt the aura of a divine king. These people were the most fearful of this type of expert. When enraged, they would slaughter all creatures in this world. The area of 100,000 miles shook, and even the clouds collapsed. However, what swept over was a boundless blood light that pierced through the sky and dyed the starry sky red. Cold killing intent pervaded the air, covering the sky and covering the sun, making one's hair stand on end. Su Yan's expression changed. How many people had died? He had fought on a super battlefield for several days and nights, so he was very clear that such a vast bloody aura had drowned out tens of thousands of miles of rivers and mountains. At the very least, hundreds of thousands of creatures had been buried. Let's go and take a look. Luo Huaqing's beautiful face had a rare serious expression. The 8 old experts around her all frowned, not wanting to cause more trouble. Seeing that Luo Huaqing had already crossed over, Luo Enyong was helpless and hurriedly urged, "Let's go quickly." Su Yan's group hurried toward their destination. It wasn't too far away, but as they approached, Luo Huaqing couldn't help but grit her teeth and say, "So ruthless. Who did this?" An entire city lay before them. The ancient city was enormous, but it had collapsed and turned into ruins. In the ruined ancient city, rivers of blood flowed, corpses piled up like mountains. At the very least, several 100,000 creatures died miserably. This was an entire city being massacred. It was to the extent that because of the fury of a deity king, all of the creatures in the ancient city were massacred. Luo Enyong and the others' expressions were abnormal. This was too cruel. How great of a grudge was there to massacre an entire city? Heavens, Blood Lion City has collapsed! Cries of alarm came from the distance. Many people had followed the fluctuations and crossed over. They all cried out in surprise and disbelief. Blood Lion City? Su Yen clenched his fist. Then, he looked toward the ruins of the ancient city that was overflowing with the stench of blood. A figure with a terrifying aura appeared. This was the Divine King, and behind the Divine King were several young men and women with powerful auras. It's Zhu Hongtu, the Divine King. Some people recognized his origins. He was the Divine King of the Blood Realm, the overseer of the Ancestral Hall in the Blood Realm. It's all been cleaned up. There's not a single survivor. It's a pity that we couldn't find any experts related to the Blood Lion mercenary group. The entire clan must have moved away. Some of the young men and women behind Zhu Hongtu were discussing among themselves. Their words were cold and disdainful, and they did not even look at the ruined Blood Lion city. To them, even if these people and the Blood Lion mercenary group were useless, the living beings in this city would have to be buried with them. Su Yan clenched his fist. He felt as if his heart was being cut by a knife. The people of the Ancestral Hall were too ruthless. Chapter 765. How could Blood Lion City provoke the Ancestral Hall? Moreover, the divine king of the Blood Lion mercenary group shouldn't be any weaker than Zhu Hongtu. The collapse of an ancient city and the stench of blood filled the sky. This alarmed all the major powers in the area. Many experts rushed over to investigate and were horrified by the scene. How could something like this happen? How could the Blood Lion mercenary group provoke the Ancestral Hall? After all, the Blood Lion mercenary group was a tyrant in Blood Lion City, but in front of the Ancestral Hall, they were as weak as ants. There were very few people who knew the origins of the Blood Lion mercenary group. Someone revealed the information from the Milky Way galaxy, which caused a huge commotion. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts as they were terrified. Some families who were friends with the Blood Lion mercenary group were terrified. They were really afraid that the Ancestral Hall would attack them. The deterrence of a peak race was too terrifying, but people didn't forget that the Ancestral Hall had suffered great losses. The Ancestral Hall's gate was blasted open, and even the powerful experts died tragically. This was the Ancestral Hall's humiliation. It was even said that even Zhu Tian had been killed by Su Yan of the Burial Realm race. This matter caused a huge commotion throughout the universe. The younger generation found it inconceivable. Could Zhu Tian of the Ancestral Hall have really been killed by the legendary Su Yan? Su Yan, that terrifying madman. He killed the son of a powerful expert, crippled Yin Xian of the Dark Underworld race, and even killed Zhu Tian. It's still a mystery whether Zhu Tian has fallen or not, but the battle recording stone has been widely circulated in the black market. The major sects have already confirmed it. The possibility of Zhu Tian's death is quite high. Speaking of the Burial Realm race, they couldn't help but think of Su Yan. That rising star of the Burial Realm race had done some big things in recent years, which had spread to the distant Blood Realm world. One could imagine how famous Su Yan was now. Now, the Ancestral Hall was acting with great fanfare in order to recover their lost prestige. One had to admit that their methods were quite cruel. An ancient city was destroyed just like that, which shocked the world. Zhu Hongtu's expression was ice-cold. They had attacked in a domineering manner. He wanted to see who would dare to get involved with the Zhang clan. Disperse, what's there to see? Some of the young men and women in the Ancestral Hall looked down at the people around them and shouted, "The Blood Lion mercenary group brought this upon themselves. Now that the ancestral land has collapsed, there will be no more Blood Lion mercenary group in the future." The onlookers fled in panic. Some people secretly sneered. Who didn't know that the Milky Way galaxy had stopped fighting? The impact of the Chaos Ruins was too great. At present, the major forces didn't act blindly without thinking. Moreover, the Blood Lion Divine King had led his clan back to the later progenitor. Although this battle wouldn't happen in a short period of time, the Milky Way had also been sealed. It had become a land of death. No one could walk out of the Milky Way. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you leaving? These young disciples of the Ancestral Hall were very powerful and could not tolerate sand in their eyes. When they noticed that Luo Huaqing's group was still standing there, their faces immediately turned ugly, and they loudly reprimanded them. Most of these Ancestral Hall youngsters had come from the primal Chaos Ruins. They hated the Burial Realm clan to the bone. After all, more than 10 of their resource lands had been overturned, and they had almost suffered the same fate. Why should I leave? Luo Huaqing was angry. She felt that their methods were too cruel. The Blood Lion mercenary group had already retreated, but they had implicated innocent people and slaughtered an ancient city. Okay, the faces of these youngsters changed on the spot, but they were immediately stopped by a man with a powerful aura. He was wearing a blue robe, and his every move exuded a powerful pressure. Especially in his body, there was a wisp of divine power that pierced through the sky. A powerful divine state cultivator had definitely used an extremely high standard of primal chaos origin energy. The divine body that he had gathered was extremely strong, and the pressure was so strong that the nearby cultivators who were fleeing couldn't breathe. They felt as if a big stone was pressing down on their hearts. So it's little Princess Luo Huaqing. Zhu Jingxiang dispelled the smell of blood on his body, and a gentle smile appeared on his face. Those who didn't know him would think that he was an elegant young master. This person cupped his hands and smiled. I've seen the little princess in the Great Net Empire before. I didn't expect to meet you here. Does the little princess still remember me? Luo Huaqing was young and beautiful. Although she didn't look old, she was still a peerless beauty. Her waist was slender, and she also recognized Zhu Jingxiang. This was Zhu Hongtu's son, and he was always in seclusion in the primal chaos ruins. He was a legacy disciple of the ancestral hall. Zhu Jingxiang's potential was astonishing. He was about to step into the heavenly god realm, and he would definitely be one of the leaders of the ancestral hall in the future. Great Net Empire's little princess. The men and women beside Zhu Jingxiang were stirred, and they retracted their previous contempt and arrogance. The Great Net Empire was one of the top 10 clans in the universe, and Emperor Nan came from the Great Net Empire. This clan was incomparably prosperous. They established their religion through the empire, and they ruled over a vast star field. This clan cultivated the emperor's true scripture, and it was also a famous pinnacle heaven art. The princess of the Great Net Empire naturally had an extremely sacred position in the empire. Of course, some of the princesses weren't the daughters of the emperor of the empire. In this clan, those who were qualified to confer the title of princess and prince would have the qualifications to compete for the throne of the emperor in the future. As long as they had enough talent, they could select the princess and prince for the throne. However, the strongest person in the Great Net Empire, Emperor Nan, was a supreme being that was revered by the world. He would definitely be the leader of the Great Net Empire in the future. Luo Huaqing was the youngest princess of the Great Net Empire, and she was also famous in the universe. These people came over to greet them, and some of them looked at Su Yan suspiciously. Seeing his down-and-out appearance, they couldn't help but frown, and said in a contemptuous tone, "Why, is this the little Princess War General? Is there a problem?" Su Yan cast a sidelong glance at the man who looked down on him. Humph, with such serious injuries, how can he protect the little princess? The man who looked down on Su Yan had a cold expression. Didn't this brat know that they belonged to the ancestral palace? Luo Huaqing was angry on the spot. She was most angry that someone said that the people around her weren't good enough. She stood out and asked, "Why did you kill these people?" Hearing this, Zhu Jingxiang was like a whirlwind as he calmly said, "It's just some forces left behind by the sinners. We casually wiped out these filthy clans. It's not worth mentioning at all." "Sinners? You're talking about the Zhongyu clan, right?" Luo Huaqing's voice was like a silver bell, crisp and moving. She asked again, "I heard that the Ancestral Palace and the Dark Nether clan joined forces to attack the Zhongyu clan. What's the situation now? Did you take down the sinners?" Zhu Hongtu's expression didn't look good. Wasn't she asking the obvious? It seems that the little princess is interested in this matter. It seems that the situation will be soon. Zhu Jingxiang said with a stiff face, "The Zhongyu clan is now trapped by us. They don't dare to come out at all. Just like before, they're just a bunch of cowards." Oh, Luo Huaqing looked like she didn't quite understand. She muttered, "So that's how it is. It's said that the clan is led by a Su Yan. I've heard of his name back at home. I wonder how he is now?" Zhu Hongtu's face was about to collapse. Luo Enyong and the others smiled bitterly. They shouldn't have mentioned that. Now, the ancestral palace was hopping mad whenever they heard the name Su Yen. The news of Zhu Tian's death had spread throughout the entire universe, but the higher-ups of the ancestral palace didn't confirm it. Zhu Tian's death was really a mystery. Su Yen, that bastard. Zhu Jingxiang gritted his teeth and said, "He can't live either. What can he achieve if he's trapped in the Milky Way? How can he reach the immortal state without entering the chaos ruins? If he loses one step, he'll lose everything. I heard that this Su Yen is quite powerful. He even killed a lot of heavenly gods." As soon as Luo Huaqing finished speaking, Luo Enyong and the others dragged the little princess away. They didn't want to let him continue. How could he embarrass himself like this? Zhu Jingxiang just said that Su Yen couldn't reach the immortal state, but Luo Huaqing said that Su Yen had already killed heavenly gods. Su Yen. Zhu Hongtu's eyes were extremely cold. He shouted, "If we don't get rid of this person, where will the dignity of the ancestral palace be? I'll return to the ancestral palace soon and report to the ancestor. We must destroy the Zhongyu clan as soon as possible." I don't know why the ancestor is hesitating. Why didn't he do it? Zhu Jingxiang was also angry. "Bastard, you're not allowed to talk about the ancestor. Zhu Hongtu glared at Zhu Jingxiang, which made Zhu Jingxiang's heart tremble. He quickly shut up and laughed dryly. "Father, the traces of the chaotic source gas have appeared. I think it's not too late to leave after we're done here." "Why are you pulling me away? I'm not done yet." In the distance, Luo Huaqing was very unhappy. She couldn't stand the cruel actions of Zhu Hongtu and the others. This was too overbearing. Those who are unjust are doomed to destruction. Isn't the ancestral palace afraid of the day of decline? An old expert couldn't help but say, "Little princess, you have a lot of information. Is that Zhu Tian dead or not?" "How would I know?" Luo Huaqing snorted. "But I heard from the old ancestors that Zhu Tian is most likely not dead. Otherwise, that devil called Su Yen would have been on his way." Su Yan's face twitched slightly. When did he become a devil? The people he killed were all his enemies. He also looked back at the collapsed Blood Lion City and said coldly in his heart, "The Blood Realm should have the foundation of the ancestral palace." Killing intent surged in Su Yan's heart. Unfortunately, he was injured and could only suppress the raging flames in his heart for the time being. Now, he had to settle down for a while and figure out the general situation of the Blood Realm. The most important thing was to find a way to find out about the Demon Realm. Luo Huaqing's status was noble. If he stayed by her side, he would definitely find out a lot of secret. Moreover, his injuries would take at least half a month to recover. As the days passed, the essence blood in Su Yan's body became denser and denser. His injuries were getting better. They walked very far in the Blood Realm, searching for clues about the chaotic source Qi along the way. But until now they had found nothing. Finally, one day they arrived at the largest ancient city in the Blood Realm, Blood Realm City. Blood Realm City was a place where experts gathered. This city was faintly steaming with chaotic source Qi. The huge ancient city stretched across the horizon, occupying an area of millions of miles. One could imagine how big this ancient city was. It emitted an ancient and desolate aura that was as heavy as the abyss. It stood between heaven and earth like a demonic abyss, spitting out the essence of the universe. The streets of the ancient city were wide, and there was an endless stream of people coming and going. Here, the atmosphere was completely different. Everywhere, there was the sound of people hawking their wares. It was lively beyond compare. Killing was forbidden here, and even experts were no exception. Don't forget that the Blood Realm was guarded by a peak clan. The main force was entrenched in Blood Realm City, and it was said that there was a supreme being guarding Blood Realm City. "Princess, I would like to buy some treasures." Su Yen looked around. This Blood Realm City was close to the Chaos Ruins, and the goods being traded here were no trifling matter. He wanted to gather enough materials to cultivate the little divine king pill, but he was still missing over a dozen herbs. I will go to the Great Summit restaurant to find me. Luo Huaqing's eyes were shining. She had no time to care about Su Yan and was prepared to buy. Seeing Su Yan disappear like a wisp of smoke, Luo Enyong frowned and said, "Little princess, are we going to let him go just like that? What if this brat runs away?" "If he runs away, it means he doesn't have the good fortune and isn't worth cultivating." Luo Huaqing thought for a moment before replying. This made Luo Enyong feel helpless. "Princess, you didn't say much, but this brat will definitely come back. After all, with your status as princess, if you say a word, there will be countless young geniuses fighting to become your general." Chapter 766. Bloodfield City was like a bustling ancient city bordering the Chaos Ruins. It could be said to be the most prosperous ancient city in the universe. Experts from the Chaos Ruins would often be encountered here. Of course, there were all kinds of goods and resources traded here. There were also many shops set up by the Chaos Ruins to trade rare resources. Those who could use these resources were all deities, and the treasures needed to refine the little divine king pill were mostly useful to deities. This pill could only be used by those below the deity realm. If used by deities, it wouldn't have much effect. It would be a waste of such a rare item. This was one of the ancestral hall's most precious resources, the little divine king pill. Su Yan had used the Tao body pill in the past, so he knew how terrifying this series of pills were. He even thought that the ancestral hall should have the divine king pill, right? Regardless of whether he had it or not, he would do his best to gather the formula for the small god King Dan. Currently, Su Yan had already gathered the majority of the precious medicine resources, and there were still a dozen or so that he needed. Of course, these dozen or so were the most precious ones, and Su Yan had never heard of them before. "I hope I can collect the recipe as soon as possible. I can refine the little divine king pill now. I wonder how powerful this recipe is? Also, once I step into the deity realm, what about the primal chaos source chi? I wonder if I can find the primal chaos source chi. I hope the Bloodfield City really has such a rare treasure." Su Yan wanted to become a deity as soon as possible, but before that, he needed to obtain the little divine king pill and complete a round of body refinement to undergo a terrifying evolution. Su Yan wanted to transform in the Chaos Ruins and become a deity. After all, at the moment of becoming a deity, he would need a large amount of primal chaos source chi to evolve his battle body. This would allow his energy and matter to undergo a large-scale evolution. At that time, his battle strength would undergo a comprehensive transformation. There were countless places to trade treasures in Bloodfield City. In this vast Bloodfield City, there were also many treasures that couldn't see the light of day being traded in the dark. Su Yan had a lot of money on him. The spatial treasure that Su Delong had given him was filled with all kinds of precious resources. Most of them came from the Chaos Ruins. He directly checked the dozen or so largest trading places in Bloodfield City and rushed to his destination. Su Yan had never heard of the dozen or so materials needed to refine the little divine king pill. He hoped that he could trade the required resources here. But, when the maids receiving Su Yan, when they saw a young man in ragged clothes. Su Yan. Black date. These things sounded ordinary, but Su Yan had never heard of any of them. The service staff at the counter was naturally knowledgeable and had seen most of the rare treasures in the world. An old manager was moved. He hurriedly asked if the items Su Yan wanted could be bought now. "If you have them, I'll buy them now." Su Yan's heart was filled with joy. It seemed that there really were these treasures here. Of the dozen or so items you listed just now, there are some that I haven't heard of. The manager was overjoyed. He smiled at Su Yan and said, but I know that there are 3 items in this store that can be traded directly. Su Yen was disappointed. But he still urged, hurry up. My master is waiting for me. Bring them over immediately. Little brother, please wait a moment. I'll bring the goods over first. The old manager was beaming with joy. Every item was extremely valuable. Not to mention immortals, even heavenly gods couldn't afford them. After all, those items were too rare and rare. Soon, the 3 treasures appeared in front of Su Yen. He looked at them casually and said, not bad. I'll trade with other items. I'll trade with Primal Chaos Source Energy and Primal Chaos Treasured Material. The old manager was shocked. Primal Chaos Source Energy was extremely valuable. But Su Yen was willing to trade it so casually? Judging from Su Yan's tone, he must have a lot of it. He secretly guessed that Su Yan's master was probably an expert who could move unhindered in the Primal Chaos ruins. He didn't dare to offer a price carelessly. He gave a fair price and let Su Yen decide for himself. This item is too expensive. Su Yen frowned. He really didn't expect things like the chi-nurturing grass to be so valuable. Primal Chaos Source Energy was almost priceless. Even ordinary Primal Chaos Source Energy was much more valuable than Heavenly God weapons. Su Yen haggled for a while and paid 3 strands of Primal Chaos Source Energy and 15 kilograms of Primal Chaos Treasured Material. Primal Chaos Treasured Material could be used to forge Heavenly God weapons. Even the Divine King's weapons needed it. It could even be used to refine various Primal Chaos Treasured liquid. In short, it was a hard currency. Su Yen had more than 500 kilograms of Primal Chaos Treasured Material on him. This was a fortune that even heavenly gods couldn't compare to. Even the poor Divine King couldn't afford it. However, Su Yen knew very well that if this shop only found 3 of the required herbs, then the other items must be even more valuable. He even communicated with the old manager to inquire about the whereabouts of the other treasures. The manager suggested that Su Yen go directly to the Phoenix Pavilion. The Phoenix Pavilion was the largest shop in Bloodfield City. Even the Cosmos Business Alliance couldn't compete with it. The main reason was that the Phoenix Pavilion was a shop opened by the Peak clan of Bloodfield City, the Fong family. The Fong family was a Leviathan. Although they were the weakest of the top 10 Peak clans, their strength was undeniable. If it wasn't for the fact that Bloodfield City was in turmoil all year round, the Fong family would have to send out troops to guard every corner. Because of this, the Fong family suffered great losses all year round. Their foundation was relatively weak among the Peak clans. After all, this Bloodfield bordered the Primal Chaos ruins. The Fong family's almighty experts wouldn't easily leave Bloodfield City. This Bloodfield that once appeared in the universe from the Primal Chaos ruins was coveted by many great powers. The old manager said that if the Phoenix Pavilion couldn't buy something, then the treasures that Su Yen needed couldn't be found in Bloodfield City. Many thanks, sir. Su Yen stood up and left. Just as he turned his head, he saw that the maid who received Su Yen wanted to cry, but no tears came out. She had earned quite a bit from trading for such a large amount of resources, but now all of that had gone down the drain. She even had to face punishment from the manager. Su Yen shook his head and left, heading directly to the Phoenix Pavilion. It must be said that the Phoenix Pavilion was truly domineering. The building was shaped like a giant phoenix statue that broke through the sea of stars. It spread out its wings and emitted a vague light of order. It was filled with a spiritual will that could suppress all life. It was definitely built by a supreme expert. Its defensive power was astonishing. Even the Divine King couldn't break through it. The daily volume of transactions here could be called terrifying. The Divine King would often come here to trade. Su Yen directly entered the Phoenix Pavilion. The interior was massive, enough to accommodate 1,000,000 people. The magnificent hall was filled with a kind of pressure that caused one to be unable to breathe. Su Yen was proficient in the array Dao and acutely discovered that there were at least a dozen types of peak great killing formations operating in secret within this hall. Actually, with the Feng family's strength, there was no need for them to be so vigilant. But in the world of cultivation there were many strange stories. The divine king, who was on the verge of death, or a supreme expert, would do something crazy on the day their lifespan dried up. Even a store opened by the Cosmos Business Alliance had been robbed by such a madman. After all, if they wanted to live, they had to find treasures that could extend their lifespan. If they had no money, they could only rob. There were even bloody incidents like robbing auctions. "Mister, what treasures do you want to trade?" The maids here were all dignified and beautiful. They warmly welcomed everyone who came in. Who didn't know the origins of the Phoenix Pavilion? Those who had the courage to come in weren't ordinary people. They didn't look down on Su Yan's clothes. Su Yan was simple and direct. He told the maid what treasures he wanted to buy. When Su Yan said these words, the maid said with a strange expression, "Mister, please wait a moment. The things you need are relatively rare. I need to confirm with the manager whether or not there are such resources. Please wait here for a moment." "All right." Su Yan nodded and quietly waited in the hall. At the same time, his eyes scanned the hall. The Phoenix Pavilion had 3 halls. Su Yan was in an ordinary hall, but if he wanted to enter the inner hall of the Phoenix Pavilion, he had to hold the Phoenix Pavilion's VIP token. Just in the ordinary hall, Su Yan could already sense that there were deities trading treasures. Su Yan couldn't help but sigh. The background of the Phoenix Pavilion was truly unfathomable. Could it be that it was called the most popular trading place in the Blood region? And Su Yan slowly turned his head, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Even the great hall was in an uproar. Many people looked at the figure that walked in. He was extremely blazing, resplendent like an immortal heavenly sun. The aura that spread out was extremely difficult for those of the same generation to endure, their bodies feeling a type of burning and splitting apart. He was like a deity walking in the mortal world, bathing in the sun's true fire. 9 suns were faintly discernible behind his back, emitting waves that could burn mountains and boil seas. Powerful and terrifying. Sun Dome was valiant, and he was even stronger than when he was in the godly spiritual mountain range. He was the supreme star of the 9 Suns galaxy, and the 9 Suns sect must have peerless resources. Perhaps it wouldn't be inferior to the little divine King Dan in the ancestral palace to nurture Sun Dome. He was really like a huge sun that filled the sky. He was extremely powerful, and his divine aura overflowed the sky, attracting everyone's attention. Incredible, the supreme star of the 9 Suns galaxy is getting stronger and stronger. It's simply unfathomable. He has also reached the age where he must have accumulated peerless resources. He will be able to break through to the immortal state soon. For people like him, he will only choose to break through when he has accumulated to the limit. Some of the heavenly deities discussed in private. They were envious, but at the same time, some were suspicious. What was Sun Dome doing here? Su Yan frowned. With Sun Dome's status, he should be accumulating resources and preparing to break through to the immortal state. Why would he come to the Blood region? Could it be? Su Yan's eyes shrunk. Could it be that they are here for the primal chaos source chi? With Sun Dome's status, it wasn't difficult for him to get a top-grade primal chaos source chi. The 9 Suns sect was a peak clan, and Ingjia was the strongest in the sect. However, the 9 Suns sect couldn't have the primal chaos source chi. It was something that only existed in legends, and it had only appeared a few times in history. It is said that the Phoenix Palace has the primal chaos source chi. Someone couldn't hold his tongue and accidentally said it, causing a huge earthquake. Is that true? The primal chaos source chi is similar to the Tao of the 9 Suns sect. If Sun Dome gets it, wouldn't he become an invincible young giant?